The 2000s were the last great decade for comedy, since nobody can take a joke anymore. And we happen to get some of the greatest comedies of all time. The blend of genres and style of filmmaking make this decade special for laughs. Let's go over the 100 greatest comedies from the 2000s.
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. And we are so excited to break down what we think are the 100 best comedies from the 2000s. In our opinion, the peak year, the peak decade of comedy. This is when, coming off the 1990s, Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, they were like the kings of that era. And this is when comedies were still making so much money at the box office. And we had, in the 2000s, an embarrassment of riches of comedies of all sorts. And this is where actors like Ben Stiller and Will Ferrell started to really take over the top spots of comedic performers. And we got so many things from like Wes Anderson movies to silly movies like Idiocracy and, you know, The Waiting and Anchorman. Like, there's just so many incredible comedies, and it's a huge range of kinds of films, which really makes it special. And it's wild. You don't really get to see these kinds of movies anymore.
Pixar was booming, too. We have a couple Pixar movies on this list. Shrek was booming, but then we have some fun action comedies like Mr. and Mrs. Smith are on here. Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. Love Actually is a movie we have on there. We have a couple zombie movies. And I think just this list is absurd, and I miss comedies so much because we were so lucky. Yeah. A lot of us, especially listeners, you grew up in the 2000s or you were, a young adult. And not only did we have an embarrassment of riches, like you said, with comedies, but we had the franchises. We had the best big blockbuster filmmaking era.
We had everything
of all time.
We had it all.
We were peaked. We were booming, everybody. We were on the moon in the 2000s. Everything was great. And then it all went to shit because comedies are so rare these days. And now with streamers, comedies just aren't funny. They just get dumped there, and they're just lackluster. They're bland, and they all kind of look the same and sound the same, and everyone's kind of afraid to take risks like a movie like Old School is a risk. I mean, you still have movies in the vein of Burn After Reading from the Coen brothers. They're sort of intelligent, dark, sarcastic, satirical comedy. You get those every once in a while. The Death of Stalin's a great recent example. But Super Troopers, you're not making Super Troopers this decade. You're not making Walk Hard this decade because I think just Hollywood is afraid of comedies right now.
It's not something that they're pushing anymore. And I think it's because sometimes comedies can make nothing at the box office. They're a risky investment. And especially a lot of these comedies, they're like mid-range budgets. Zoolander, Anchorman, these movies cost a lot of money to make. They're about $40-50 million budgets, huge set pieces, tons of great actors. So they're not cheap. And so there's a lot of risk, but they can have a lot of rewards. Like some of these movies were in the top 10 or 15 of their years for grosses. So they can be highly successful. But I think that studios, there's two things. Sometimes they're not super profitable. And we're in a new era. Comedy changes, sense of humor changes, younger generations come up, things get more progressive, and then also there is a more sensitivity. There's a sensitivity to audiences that didn't exist. And so,
which is okay, but it kills comedy.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's almost as if nowadays a lot of people look to try, even if like they're not offended by something, they're going to look to see how it can be offensive. You know what I mean?
100%.
Even if I'm not, it's just say one of those kinds of people. If I'm not offended by this, I'm going to try and figure out how it can be offensive to someone else. And then I'm going to make a stink about it. So there's this huge, never-ending snowballing effect. And it's really prevented comedy from being as free as it used to. There are good pros and cons to that. But, I mean, you look at this decade, the 2000s, we have 100 movies on this list. They're all funny. They're all good. Some of them are amazing. Some of them are ridiculous, but still a good time. And you don't see these movies anymore at all. And it's like we said, we grew up watching these as kids, teenagers. We would go to our friend's house and watch Zoolander. People would come over our house and we'd watch Harold and Kumar, go to White Castle. Those aren't the kinds of movies that are being made or succeeding nowadays. So I think that this episode, what makes me really excited is to just talk about them. Maybe you haven't heard of some of these. And if you haven't, add them to your list because, yeah, we like to talk about a lot of great films on this list, in this podcast. But, I mean, these are for us, like childhood classics.
It's funny when I was making this list and we were just editing it together, how many times I've seen a lot of these movies. Even a movie like Along Came Polly, I've seen the movie like 8 times.
It's because we would go over a friend's house and we'd watch
Just
like,
be on TV.
Yeah,
it's good.
Not another teen movie I've seen so many times. Like so many times. These are highly rewatched movies in our lives. Grandma's Boy, like we would just smoke dope with our friends and watch Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, why have I seen Grandma's Boy 5 times? It's a funny movie.
More than 5 times.
What do clothes cost in The Matrix?
But they are endlessly rewatchable, and when a comedy hits, you can watch it over and over again. When a comedy doesn't hit, maybe skip it. But I think for the most part, these movies all hit. And there's obviously a hierarchy, which we'll get to, because this is a ranking of 100 to number 1. And, I mean, the top 10 on this list is just heavy hitters of all-time comedies.
Well, let's get the list going then.
Let's go.
We'll start at number 100. We have Hot Rod, which came out in 2007. I was late as hell to Hot Rod. People have been dying to get me to watch it. Specifically, our brother Jamie loves this movie for years. You got to watch Hot Rod. I finally watched it, I think, 2 years ago. And it's so silly. You know, Andy Samberg was such a delight on SNL. I miss his presence there. Bill Hader is great in this movie as well. But Andy Samberg, sort of the master of those digital shorts for quite a time at SNL, and just creating hilarious characters. Laser cats. But with Hot Rod, just playing the stuntman who has no talent at being a stuntman at all. And just these silly jokes and humor and the wrecks that he takes when he tries to make these jumps on his dirt bike. When he tries to go over the pool, I died laughing. And then the infamous montage of everything's going wrong, but I got to get motivated. In the woods, he starts dancing. Then he falls down the cliff for, I'm not kidding, 4 minutes. I was crying laughing. I couldn't turn my laughs off for the first time when I saw that scene. It was hysterical. This movie's so dumb and funny and such a good time. The inside jokes are great, and it's just a highly quotable movie now. But I love Hot Rod with a special place in my heart. It's so fucking goofy.
For a year, everybody was saying cool beans because of this.
Cool beans, cool beans, cool beans, cool beans, beans, cool beans. But like little jokes, like even when his brother is making an edit for him. He's doing his editing for his stunt videos.
Yeah.
And he accidentally walks on his brother. He's editing a video of 2 dogs humping each other. And like they don't really address it. He's like, what's that? He's like, oh, nothing. Just like little things like that are so funny in this movie.
And then like always fighting with Ian McShane, his stepdad. It's a good time.
I'm going to kick your ass.
It's really dumb, really
Stepdad.
silly. Yeah, it's a good time. All right, next up at 99. We got 2 titans of comedic performing, Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds, in The Proposal, which is one of the better rom-coms of the 2000s. Rom-coms were really great this decade. We had a lot of great hits, a lot of excellent actors in a ton of movies that still get rewatched. There's going to be several other rom-coms on this list. The Proposal, yes, it can be cheesy, but it's really sweet. But what really makes it special is Bullock and Reynolds bouncing off each other. They are comedic dynamite together, and they really steal the movie. Like it wouldn't really work if you didn't have the pair of them with their chemistry and their comedic chops. Because Sandra Bullock, I mean, Ryan Reynolds, everybody considers one of the funniest actors alive. Sandra Bullock's got it too, and she always has. And she, like Miss Congeniality, like she was doing it before he was. And The Proposal is just a great example of a rom-com that really works.
Yeah, and speaking of The Proposal and Reynolds and talking about comic book movies and superhero movies, of course this is referenced in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
But also, I know we talked about how comedies are kind of dead, and I think there was just a massive shift to comedy being really focused on superhero movies and comic book movies because the MCU just destroyed. Those movies were so funny. I mean, the Iron Man's hysterical, the Ragnarok's so funny. So I think a lot of comedy feeling has been
The genre morphed into.
Yeah, I think it was a natural progression. It was going to be funny anyways. Comic books do have a lot of good jokes, but the tone really took over comedies. I think studios were like, we don't need to do comedies. We have superhero movies in a lot of ways. All right, moving on to The Girl Next Door, which is a movie I watched quite a few times.
Alicia Cuthbert for like 5 years.
Yeah,
man.
2000 and what year did this come out? 2004. Yeah,
Alicia 24.
Alicia Cuthbert. Yeah, she's Jack Bauer's daughter. And then Emil Hirsch. Emil Hirsch plays this kid in high school who's trying to find his way, and a porn star moves next door to him, played by Alicia Cuthbert. Timothy Olyphant's excellent in this movie, and then he starts to build a relationship because everyone, like him and his friends, recognize this girl, and he starts to try to date her, and then that gets conflicted with her lifestyle and her profession, which she's trying to leave at the same time, but she's being forced back into it. Paul Dano is in this
Oh
movie
my God,
as
the
well.
friend!
The friend.
Oh my God.
Who at the end of the movie just apparently just has his junk touches the floor basically. Like he's just packing massive heat.
Yeah.
And like at the end there's the video that he's wearing the mask because he doesn't want to show his identity. But basically the plot is they're trying to make a porno at prom with the help of her. And it's really funny. It's hysterical.
Yeah, and also it's got some heart to it. You'd be surprised, but it is a little sweet. They did, even as heightened and raunchy as comedies could be, they did oftentimes try to put the heart there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're going to be saying some raunchy stuff in this episode, FYI.
We
They're just
might
jokes.
say sex in this.
We're just quoting movies, okay, guys?
You okay to say sex in this
I
episode,
think we
James?
can say sex.
All right, next up we got Woody Allen's Vicky Christina Barcelona, which is another incredible comedic romance. This stars Scarlett Johansson, Rebecca Hall, and Javier Bardem. The two girls are on a trip in Europe. Javier Bardem, as like the coolest, suavest womanizer, one of the greatest in film history, basically picks them up at a restaurant to go on his plane, go see a statue, and stay with him in Barcelona and eat, drink, and have sex for a week.
Quite the life, man.
Doesn't quite go that way, but both the girls learn a lot about themselves. Penelope Cruz won an Oscar for this. This is a great example of making both a drama and a comedy where it's balanced perfectly on either side of the kilter. Whatever. You know what I mean? You know what I mean.
The aisle.
Yeah.
There's a tightrope.
What's the seesaw? Yeah, like a seesaw
or tightrope.
Tightrope. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tightrope was what I was looking for.
Yeah.
But this is really great. It's sexy. It's very funny. Penelope Cruz really steals the show, and she is hilarious in this movie. The situations, the dialogue, it's so well written. It's one of Allen's best of the century for sure. And I really adore Vicky Cristina Barcelona. If you haven't seen it, definitely add it to your watch list.
It's sort of a throuple movie too.
Yeah,
know?
it's a throuple,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, they have their own dynamics individually as couples that are combined. In this.
It's Cruz, Bardem, and then Johansson end up having like a throuple situation, basically.
It's a great flick. I've only seen it once, but I still remember a lot of it.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's good, very memorable. I mean, I think I know why I remember it really well. A lot of really hot people in that movie.
It's very sexy people.
Moving on to number 96. I love how we're talking about a porn star movie, and now we're talking about How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Only on this podcast.
Which came out in 2000. This is one of the best Christmas movies of the century, of all time. Jim Carrey. Who else could take on this role of the Grinch and just nail it? And just put everything into it besides Jim Carrey, who was the hottest actor alive in the 90s for comedy. And in general, he's on top of the world. And then coming out strong in the 2000s with How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It was so great. You know, this is a movie I've seen a bunch of times. One of our nieces loved this movie, so we watched it like every day for an entire summer, even
in the non-Christmas season.
It's silly, it's fun. I love the characterization he came up with for the Grinch, with his own blend of comedy, grumpy but hysterical and sarcastic, but at the end very sweet and humble. And it's a great movie, lots of great humor. Ron Howard directed this, great practical filmmaking all around, and I really do enjoy How the Grinch Stole Christmas a lot.
It's a good time.
Yeah,
it's one of the funniest Christmas movies. It's up there all time too, and it's just a yearly watch. It's got to be. All right, at number 95, we have Adam Sandler in the house. There's gonna be a lot of Sandman in this episode, obviously. With I now pronounce Chuck and Larry, with his collaboration with Kevin James, where they play friends who legally get married to evade taxes, so they get a tax benefit.
They're firefighters. I can't remember what the plot was, where one of them is losing benefits or something like that.
Kevin James, he's like really struggling, and so they get married to benefit themselves, essentially. I can't remember exactly. It's something about taxes or whatever. And then it's them trying to make the legal system believe they are a married couple, and then Jessica Biel is Adam Sandler's romantic love interest, which will be a trend in his career. Jessica Biel, Kate Beckinsale, you know,
just the hottest ladies in Hollywood. But he's also a womanizer too, which is a great irony for him trying to be in a gay relationship.
Yeah, and this is a funny movie. They're great together. I love the whole crew. I think it's very charming. It's not perfect, but it's Adam Sandler and Kevin James together. I mean, that's what you paid for. And I remember just having a great time with this movie the times I saw it.
Jessica Biel in underwear. I remember that scene pretty well.
Oh, and she's trying because she's comfortable with Adam Sandler,
Because
so she's like
she
changing
thinks
in front
he's
of him in the changing room.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
So it's funny they put a straight man into these ridiculous situations.
There's another movie or TV show recently that's done that concept where
Uh-huh.
just pretend you're gay and you get close with her. What was it? It'll come to me. It was done pretty recently.
I can't remember, but I believe you, man.
Let's move on to.
It's James' favorite genre.
It never worked.
That's what he does.
It never worked for me.
Still trying. Yes, yes, Queen, I love it.
Moving on to another Adam Sandler movie. We're just going back-to-back jacks for the Sandman. We're going with You Don't Mess with the Zohan, which is a hysterical movie. Great concept. Adam Sandler plays an Israeli commando secret agent who also falls in love with hairstyling and fashion. He's very fashionable, but he becomes obsessed with hairstyling. It's sort of like Edward Scissorhands, except with Israeli
as a
commando.
spy?
Yeah, as a spy with Adam Sandler. It's really funny. Sandler got in ridiculously good shape for this movie compared to the rest of his career. And he actually, he was on Rogan recently, and I watched that episode because he's so funny, and I love Sandler so much. And they talked about this movie for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And Rogan's like, why don't you do a sequel to Zohan? He's like, man, I can't get in that shape again. He's like, I'm done. Like, I can't do that again.
Yeah, he's shirtless half that movie.
Yeah. But this movie's so silly, so fun. The classic Sandler slapstick humor, because I feel like this time period, 2008, some of his movies weren't hitting. Some of them were. But this one was like, oh, man, like he's
Still
back
got
in this
it.
movie. He still got it.
Yeah.
And it was really funny. It's really original. And I think it's just a ridiculous concept.
It's excellent physical humor too, like the crazy body stuff that Zohan does, like
Yeah.
his splits and his
like
breaking
ties people up in like a
breaking
knot.
people's arms,
Yeah.
and like it's so funny and so silly. And Anna Faris is the romantic interest, and he's behind her on her scooter. She's like, "Your hands are on my breast." He's like, "Those are breasts. I thought you were a boy."
Like, you can't do that joke
Yeah,
today.
you can't do that joke today. Yeah. But it's just so silly. It looks ridiculous on the surface, but it actually works. And it's not his best stuff, obviously, but it can make you laugh.
Yeah.
Seriously. And I love the family. They're really ridiculous, and it's just overall just a goofy movie. I love
opening up a hair salon is so funny. It's like his greatest passion is to do hair.
It's great. You're right. It is like Edward Scissorhands, because when the women get their hair done by him, it's like euphoric for them.
Yeah, they all look the same. They all have like a great haircut.
Oh my God. All right, next up we have Friday After Next, which is the sequel to Friday. Although we're missing Chris Tucker, Ice Cube, and the rest of the cast do pull it out. And we really enjoyed this first sequel. And Craig goes on, he leaves the neighborhood for much of the story.
It's like a summer he's spending at his uncle's.
Exactly. And it gave us a different environment, a different tone. And then obviously they doubled down on his dad being a good character in this, and then other friends as well. So it was a good time.
Is Cat Williams in this as Pinky? Who plays Pinky in this movie?
Yeah, he is Pinky.
Yeah, he's so funny. I love Cat Williams so much. This it's pretty silly. Obviously, him and his cousin get into trouble with the neighbors next door down the street. Like they live on a circle. And it's pretty good. It takes the comedy of Friday, which is just one of the best from the 90s, and does a great job replicating it, but also bringing bigger production to the movie.
Yeah, obviously missing Chris Tucker is felt.
Yeah, of course.
But they did a good job of trying to maintain the comedy without him. There's only so much you can do because he was so just absolutely incredible in the first one.
Yeah, but Mike Epps does a really good job
Yeah.
holding his own, playing his cousin in this movie. So they do a good job of, like, you're missing one of the best comedians in cinema and in general, but you make do with it. Mm-hmm. Moving on to number 92. I love this. This is actually a good remake or legacy remake. We have Starsky and Hutch, obviously based off the TV show from the 70s, starring Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, who have just incredible chemistry together. This was a big movie for Will Ferrell too, because this is 2004. You know, he's doing Anchorman at the same time, Old School a few years before. The world's just getting really introduced to Will Ferrell on a huge scale for these few years. And he obviously has a great small role of the prisoner, the dragon guy. But this movie's hysterical. Vince Vaughn's so funny in this too, but this movie's great. You know, we have all the callbacks and the nostalgia of the original show, plus the original actors come in for a cameo at the end. We have the car, we have the character names and their styles and how different they are. But Ben Stiller is hysterical as Starsky, and he's just like hard-nosed. His mom was a great cop. He's trying to live up to her legacy.
I love it. Yeah.
And then Hutch is just kind of like a playboy kind of guy. He's taking care of this kid who doesn't really have anywhere to go on the side. And it's just a really fun time, really solid crime mystery. You know, Vince Vaughn, sort of this kingpin he's dealing drugs. He's also got a lot of wealth, and they're coming after him. So I love this movie. It's so fucking fun. I feel like I've seen this movie 12 times.
Great director made this too, right? Todd Phillips made it.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, Todd Phillips made it. This is really good. There's a lot of great humor. Like
do it. Bacardi and Cola. Do it.
But Bacardi, we were saying
Bacardi
all
Cola,
throughout
do
middle
it.
school, Bacardi and Cola, do it.
Do it.
In the cocaine scene where he thinks it was sugar, he's like, "Oh, it's sugar!" And it does like a quick montage of him doing all sorts of doing the cocaine in his mouth and stuff. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's a classic, man.
I really enjoyed Starsky and Hutch.
Me too.
That was a good time.
I've seen that movie way too many times, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But they did a good
When
job.
he accidentally shoots the pony inside the bar, thinking it's going to be a bunch of drugs.
And our mom said that she loved it and she was a fan of the show. And she liked Starsky a lot when she was growing up. The original Starsky. All right, next up.
Yeah, that's Paul Michael Glazer.
We got another Will Ferrell film, which it's pretty damn funny, and it's Blades of Glory. I mean, him and John Heder together, I think, was comedic gold. It's so ridiculous and over the top. These two guys who are rival ice skaters get banned from solo ice skating, so then they decide to team up as a doubles team to skate doubles, and it's really funny. It's ridiculous. I love the costumes. I love Will Ferrell's character in this one. He always played like the oaf, the ridiculous oaf, and this is one where he's kind of an asshole too, which is like one of his few asshole roles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he does it really well. I love the hair. It's really insane and absurd, but honestly, as a kid, I always really loved it. It's a good one, man. It really is.
Next up, we have Joe Dirt coming out in 2001. David Spade killed it with this movie, and he basically he plays this high school janitor. He's got this mullet, acid wash jeans, great shirt, and like cut off t-shirts. And his goal in this film is to find the parents he lost at the Grand Canyon when he was 8 years old. And it's an odyssey, really. This is an adventure film. He's going on this journey to find them. He's off on the road, basically. Gets into hijinks, meets a lot of people. Great sequences and moments, like the fireworks moments are a lot of fun. Woo! Woo! And then
Christopher Walken.
yeah. And then eventually he makes it to Los Angeles. A shock jock DJ puts him on the air, tells him his story to make fun of him, but eventually everyone kind of gets behind him. Is sort of the whole city's captivated by Joe Dirt, and they want him to find his parents. And he does. They help him find his parents, but it doesn't go as he expected. And he learns a lot about himself, learns a lot about his life, and it's really funny. But then it has a really tender ending at the same time.
Yeah, and the sideburns were ridiculous. And who's the rest of the cast?
Brittany Daniel, Jamie Presley.
Yeah. What's his name? Kid Rock at the end.
Yeah.
It's like the area bully.
Robbie.
Oh my god, it's funny. It's a funny movie. We watched this too much, I think.
I think we're gonna say that about all these comedies, so we should probably hit the brakes on that because it's gonna be every one of these we've seen 10 times.
Bring It On is our next one at number 89. Quite the contrast from Joe Dirt. Joe Dirt to Bring It On, it was a really good comedy about cheerleading, and it's about this really great squad of cheerleaders who are competing in a tournament. They learn, Kirsten Dunst's character, Torrance, learns that their entire routine was actually stolen by their rival dancers, the cheer squad, the Clovers.
No, they stole the Clovers routine.
Yeah, but she didn't realize.
No, the way you worded it made it sound like that the Clovers stole theirs.
No, I said Kirsten Dunst and her squad learned that their routine
was stolen by the Clovers.
Did I say by the Clovers?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to. That's what I'm correcting.
Sorry.
That's what I'm correcting.
Stolen from the Clovers.
Yes,
Stolen from
like the captain stole the Clovers routine. There you go.
Yes. Gabriel Union's great in this. Elijah Dushku, Jesse Bradford, who had like a really good 2000 to 2005. He was like the it guy for a little bit. He was in
the
Clock Stoppers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Clock Stoppers. Oh my god,
remember Clock
that
Stoppers?
movie slapped when I was 11.
Oh, he was in that movie, that sexy teen movie Swimmers. Remember?
Yep.
Yeah. So he had
the obsessive fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it was called Swim Fan.
Swim Fan. Thank you, Swim Fan.
Not Swimmers.
I haven't seen Swim Fan for a long time, but this is a good time. It's great. I love the characters. It's iconic, and the cast is excellent.
It's the definitive cheerleading movie.
Peyton Reed directed it.
No way.
Yeah, who's blown up in Marvel with the Ant-Man movies.
That's right.
But he also has a role in it too as the mime.
And this was a movie that's obviously made fun of and not another teen movie, which I can't wait to.
We didn't steal your routine. Then they do the dance.
I'm black. I'm definitely a white. Stuff like that. Bow, 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 bow.
Don't worry, none of that teen movie's on this list, but it's way up there. Trust us. It's that funny.
Oh man, I miss comedy. I miss comedy. You
definitely ain't white.
You can't do this today, man. All right, moving on.
Oh my god.
Number 88, Van Wilder from National Lampoon, starring the great Ryan Reynolds in a pretty early role as a leading man, also co-starring Tara Reid. This movie was huge for his career, obviously, but when you watch, you can really see the amount of confidence, charm, charisma he brings to his roles. He's obviously this sort of 6th year senior at this college. He's the man. Everyone looks up to him. All the guys look up to him for inspiration or helping him get girls or school. He helps everyone in different ways. And then everyone kind of worships this guy on campus. And then this girl, played by Tara Reid, is doing an article about him for the local paper, for the school paper. And it's really just about his life. But he eventually learns the error of his ways and decides to change as a person in order to impress her, at the same time as to grow as a human being. But also, there's some things he's keeping back. Great humor. I think I've had these before.
First dates, art interviews.
Great pranks. And, I mean, I think Ryan Reynolds was just the man, because the National Lampoon movies, of course, there are some bangers in there, but for the most part, they're kind of straight-to-DVD kind of films. But Ryan Reynolds made this movie soar.
Cal Penn's great in this as well.
Yeah.
He's basically the surrogate audience for Van Wilder's world. Like, we're with him entering Van's world, you know? This also, Van Wilder tapped into the weird fashion of like the early 2000s that we all did. Guys, we had the long sleeve t-shirt with the short sleeve t-shirt over it. It was the weirdest fashion trend ever. Everyone did it. We all had a t-shirt with the long sleeve underneath it. And Van Wilder does it multiple times in this. And then Brad Pitt did it in The Mexican. His whole entire wardrobe was that. It was like
It was all over teen movies.
Yeah, it was the most random outfit, but we all did it.
Boy Meets World, man.
Yeah, man. Long sleeve tee with the short sleeve tee over it.
Just a regular tee. Yeah.
And he also had the Volkswagen hat, the VW that he always wore around too. I think we both wore that hat.
Did we have a VW hat? But that was for Van Wilder. But
yeah. I think we both. I think one of us got the Volkswagen.
Oh, Chris, because he had a Volkswagen.
Chris did.
He had a Jetta.
Yeah. Never mind. You're right. All right, next up, we have...
That's that Mallrats joke where have sex with you somewhere uncomfortable. Like a Volkswagen? The back of a Volkswagen?
All right, next up, we have an icon in British cinema. We got Rowan Atkinson and Johnny English, which is a spoof of the spy genre, where Rowan Atkinson, he's not quite Bean, but he's pretty close to Mr. Bean. He can talk. But he plays an inept, idiotic, ridiculous, bumbling secret spy for MI6. And this is all just straight up physical comedy. Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin. He's making a mess of everything, every scene he's in. And it is hilarious. It's so funny. I think that he really is a special comedic actor. And Johnny English is, aside from being, I think, his best work on the big screen. It's so ridiculous. Like, there's a scene where he walks into he enters MI6 and he goes into an office and there's a secretary there, and he's acting like super cool. So he takes off his jacket and he throws it across the room, but it goes out a window. But he plays it cool like nothing happened. Like, the whole movie is just filled with that, and it's just one of those movies that it'll make you chuckle the entire way through. It's great.
So won't Elf at number 86 on our list in 2003. Man, the early 2000s for Will Ferrell. What a fucking run this guy had. 2003 with Elf is so funny. One of the best Christmas movies of all time. So delightful and charming. Buddy the Elf is so innocent and sweet. This human who accidentally snuck into Santa's bag when presents were being dropped off at the orphanage that he grew up in, and then grows up in the North Pole with the elves as a regular-sized human until he sets out on his journey after realizing and learning that he wasn't actually an elf. He was a human to try to find his father, who his stepfather or adopted father tells him about. And then just Buddy the Elf, an elf who grew up in the North Pole trying to socialize in New York City in 2003. Is just so funny. Zoe Deschanel, pretty early role for movies for her as well. But I think the only movie I can think of that she's got blonde hair in as well. She just really had
and
that
no bangs,
dark hair, bangs look after this forever.
Yeah.
500 Days of Summer changed that. And it's Elf, man. It's so funny. So many jokes, so many one-liners, so many great scenes. Full of heart. The first half hour of this movie is just incredible comedy.
I love it.
Jon Favreau, too. Great filmmaking. Great directing.
It's also, also one of the best Christmas movies.
It's timeless. It's timeless.
At number 85, we have Barbershop, another Ice Cube film, who really also was one of the kings of comedy in the 2000s for sure. This is a great comedy that tells the story of a day in the life of a Southside Chicago barbershop. Great cast: Ice Cube, Sean Patrick Thomas, Cedric the Entertainer, Keith David. It's a fun time. It's great. I remember as kids, like, we got to see like a different culture on screen and their sense of humor and that kind of comedy, and they all bounced off each other. Anthony Anderson, early role for him, I remember. But this is a great time. I really enjoyed Barbershop. They made a couple of these, but I remember the first one's by far the best one.
Next up, we have a silly movie at number 84. Dude, Where's My Car? Came out in 2000. The stoner comedies were booming in the early 2000s.
What's mine say? Dude, what's mine say? Wait, sweet.
There you go.
What's mine say? Dude, what's mine say?
Sweet.
And then.
Just two bubbling stoners wake up and they can't find their car, or they can't find Ashton Kutcher's car. So they go on a journey, try to find it. They stumble upon all kinds of things going on, to the point where there are aliens at the end of this movie, which is just so ridiculous and absurd. Jennifer Garner's in this movie as well. Mm-hmm. We have Marla Skokov, Mitzi Martin. It's just a funny, ridiculous, silly movie.
I love the matching tracksuits. Yeah. The Adidas tracksuits. One's red, one's blue. And again, we got another the polo shirt with the long sleeve underneath it.
Yeah, we did. Sean William Scott.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and they just get into the most insane hijinks just because of this odyssey. It's a good time. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It was such a hot movie because Sean William Scott was on fire after American Pie as Stifler.
Yes.
And he doesn't quite play like a Stifler kind of role, but obviously that's his style of comedy, which he still has done like in movies like The Goon later on. And Ashton Kutcher was massive too, because that 70s show I think was ramping up right around here too.
Oh yeah, for sure. This movie made $74 million.
At the box office, that's insane.
I'm telling you, these comedies, they all made a shit ton of money.
What was the budget on this movie?
$13 million budget.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very profitable film.
Yeah, and also with Sean William Scott, like, he didn't play an asshole. And people got to see him, like, he's a lovable idiot in this movie. You know what I mean? This movie is essentially, it's like the contemporary Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Essentially. Like, it's the Dumb and Dumber
Kind of,
formula.
yeah. And they're silly guys.
Yes.
You're not supposed to take these movies seriously. At the end of the movie, they get the necklaces that they can make anything happen. What do they wish for? For their girlfriends to have bigger boobs.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Oh, my God.
You can't take it seriously, guys.
Oh, that's
just
ridiculous.
Jokes.
Oh my God, poor Jennifer Garner and the other actors.
Hey, getting paid, man.
They got paid. Yeah,
getting paid.
Gotta work your way up.
I don't feel bad for someone if you made $200,000 for 2 weeks of work.
That's true.
If not less.
If the movie made that much, they made good money off Dude, Where's My Car? Also, you gotta think about, this is a movie made for guys. You know,
and girls, like
girls, yeah.
Everyone likes comedies,
but this is like a male centric.
Sure,
it was made.
It's the male gaze.
It was made for guys.
It's a toxic movie, Anthony.
I know, but
that's the problem with comedy today. Is everything's either toxic, the male gaze.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
That's why you can't do this anymore.
You can't.
But you got to admit, this is made for guys. Whereas there are movies on this list that were made for women. For sure.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Movies are made for certain audiences. This is a movie where the studio is like, we need a movie for like teenage boys. This is what this movie's for.
That's where comedy demographic is.
Bring It On was made for teenage girls.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I like that a lot too, though.
Exactly. Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah. We saw it. We loved it. Now, let's get into our next film.
Definitely going to watch Kirsten Dunst and Gabrielle Union in cheerleader uniforms. You kidding me? When I was 12.
That was made for the male gaze. Yeah.
Definitely. It's a little bit of both.
All right. To contrast Dude, Where's My Car? We have a very nuanced comedy with Garden State. Zach Braff's directorial debut, and it was one of his biggest leading roles as an actor in a film, I would say. Garden State where he plays a recently successful actor who comes back home for the funeral of his mom, and he meets a quirky girl played by Natalie Portman, while he's also trying to reconcile the estrangement he has with his father. This is a great movie. Zach Braff really knocked it out of the park with this. It was a festival hit, did really well, critical acclaim, and it's an indie darling. Great soundtrack. This is absolutely like in the top 10 of the 2000s for movie soundtracks. Zach Braff did a great job curating the music he put in this film. But it comes down to, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the person comes back home for a death in the family movie. Those are really overdone and beaten to death. But that being said, this is one of the better ones for sure. And this movie's good, but Natalie Portman puts it over the edge. She gives a great comedic performance. She plays this very sweet, strange girl who he has a romance with. And it's a very cool physical performance by her. She does a lot in this film. I think it's something that she doesn't get much recognition for, but she's wonderful in the movie. Peter Skarsgård's in this as well as Zach Braff's old friend who works at a cemetery, I believe. But it's a really good movie. It's very sweet. It's very funny. It's touching. Garden State's wonderful.
Moving on to one of the best buddy cop franchises to ever exist. Number 82, we have Rush Hour 2. Carter and Lee are back at it again in the sequel to the huge hit Rush Hour. This time, there's an explosion at the Chinese embassy and a bunch of controversy and conspiracies that they have to solve. But, it's just Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan together. Some of the best comedic comedy ever with these two combined. The chemistry is off the charts. Obviously, Jackie brings the martial arts and his great body humor and physical humor a la Buster Keaton. And then Chris Tucker with his hilarious jokes and one-liners and improvisation. This movie just takes everything up a notch. Bigger fight sequences, more comedic moments. I love parts where Carter's in love with the kung fu lady, like the villain female. Yeah. He keeps trying to talk to her.
We could have bid something. But you crazy. You crazy.
Every time they're about to fight, he's like, wait, let's just talk. Let's just figure this out. We can be together.
We could have had something. But you crazy. You're one crazy bitch.
It's great,
That's become a video meme recently.
Yeah, we have the great karaoke sequence, all kinds of stuff inside the sewer. It's just so funny, so silly, and I love the Rush Hour franchise so much. I really hope they can make the fourth one.
They're really good. They are a really good time. You know what else is a good time is at number 81, we have Malibu's Most Wanted. Traffic, looking for my chapstick, feeling kind of car sick. There's a Ford Maverick. Jamie Kennedy.
Everybody's got a 9.
Jamie Kennedy lives in Malibu with his buddies, and they think they are hard gangsters. They do the most Malibu things like going to the shopping mall and driving around, and they act like they're gangsters, and they dress like they're gangsters.
They dress like it's just music video fashion.
Yeah, music video gang. Yeah. And then
like MTV Cribs fashion.
Exactly. And then Jamie Kennedy's character actually gets put into Southside gangland territory where he kind of blends in for a little bit. And the gangsters have fun with him. Anthony Anderson's great in this. Tay Diggs.
No, but Anthony Anderson's not a gangster. He's an actor.
Oh, he hires him.
He hires
him to help him blend in.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God,
the other guy,
right.
they're actors.
Oh my God, you're right. I forgot.
So I don't want all my roles to be about the struggle. I'm an actor.
But then he gets wound up. He gets in this huge plot in real gangland. And he goes to a real party. It's so funny. King Kong ain't got shit on me. Because he quotes Denzel. He shoots off like a ton of rounds and it impresses the gangsters.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's a pretty silly movie.
It's insane.
Number 80 on our list, we have 50 First Dates. An incredibly sweet and funny romantic comedy with Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore, Rob Schneider, and Peter Segal. Plus, we have a great performance from Samwise himself, Sean Astin, in this role.
Roided out.
Yeah. And it's a great concept. So Adam Sandler plays a guy who he lives in Hawaii, right? And then he goes to this diner every day, but then there's this girl he sees in the diner who he instantly falls in love with at first sight and goes to talk to her. And throughout the course of the film, he learns that she has short-term memory. She forgets everything that happens when she goes to sleep every night and wakes up with no memory of what happened before her or of her life. And it's really sweet. And despite that, he spends all his time trying to win her over and trying to figure out a way how we can make this work and how to make it work. Funny. It's very cute. It's very sweet. And then it has really a very huge emotional payoff at the end of the film.
Yeah, it's good. But it is very funny. Schneider's funny in this. Yeah. What is he? The You Can Do It? What is it? That this movie?
No, You Can Do It is from
Big Daddy. No,
he reprised that role a couple times.
Mr. Deeds.
I think it's Mr. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he does that in multiple movies. That You Can Do It guy, because he does it in The Mob, in I think Waterboy.
He does it in Waterboy.
Yeah,
Waterboy.
Okay, that's what it is.
Little Nicky, 51st Dates. It isn't 51st Dates.
It's a reprising thing he does.
The Longest Yard and Bedtime Stories, as well as in Click, but that scene got deleted from Click. So it's in like 7 Sandler movies. He's like, you can do it. All right, next up at number 79, we have one of the most successful films on this list, possibly the most successful film, The Devil Wears Prada, which earned $330 million at the box office. This stars Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci. This is a really great comedy. This is very good. Anne Hathaway enters the high fashion world kind of out of desperation to work for Miranda Priestly, who is the editor of the world's most famous fashion magazine. Stanley Tucci plays her best friend and collaborator, and Emily Blunt plays the longtime personal assistant who is showing Anne Hathaway the ropes very reluctantly. Adrian Grenier plays her boyfriend. Simon Becker plays a love interest. This is a great film. It's funny. It's interesting. It's well done. I think this is just like a home run for the genre. A good romantic comedy while also just great female comedy. You know what I mean? Which is still, in this decade, pretty rare for a mostly woman cast having a big comedy like this. And, I mean, you can't argue with that box office gross. They're making the sequel right now as we speak, which will probably come out late next year. Highly anticipated. Meryl Streep's legendary in this role. It's great to see Emily Blunt in this early role, but Anne Hathaway, this is like the start of her meteoric rise. Princess Diaries, Devil Wears Prada, she became the it actress.
Speaking of, next on our list is Princess Diaries at number 78. The Princess Diaries is a very sweet, fun movie. Anne Hathaway plays this shy teenager, and it's the classic Janie Briggs. She has glasses and a ponytail. Except she's got big bushy hair instead of a ponytail, so no one notices her. She's kind of a recluse.
She's got Hermione hair.
She's got, no confidence, big dorky glasses. And then her world's flipped upside down when she learns she's an actual real-life princess, and she is the princess of Genovia. And then she begins this funny journey of becoming this princess in the real world. All of the people who made fun of her are going crazy about it, and they can't believe it. And then she gets princess lessons basically from her grandmother, right?
Julie Andrews.
Her queen grandmother
great
shows
actress.
up to give her princess lessons. It's a very funny movie, very sweet. Of course, there's a romantic interest with a cute boy who she wants to start dating, but there's another boy, right, that they want her to date. And it's really funny. It's so sweet.
You know who that boy is?
I can't remember.
Chris Pine.
No fucking way. I gotta pull up this IMDb.
I believe. I could be wrong. I believe it's Chris Pine is the romantic interest. Or it might have been.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah. Oh, that's the sequel. Chris Pine's in the sequel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Princess Diaries 2 is Pine. Okay, I don't know the actor in the first one. I clearly remember seeing this in theaters with when she kisses the boy in the beach house.
Yeah.
She lifts her leg up. She says she'll know it's real if she kisses a boy and her leg lifts on its own. And so it's not real with that because there's like a rope above her heel and she can't lift it up all the way. But then when she kisses the boy she really likes, then her heel lifts up properly. You know?
She's glasses and a ponytail.
Janie Briggs. Anyone but her. They're right next to her. Anyone but her.
Oh, come on. Look at her. She walks right by them with books. She's glasses and a ponytail.
You fucking dressed like Evans today.
I wanted to look.
The varsity
I tried to go like 2000 high school. Like,
are we going to be quoting Not Another Teen Movie throughout the entire episode? It's just a tease.
We need to do a whole episode on Not Another Teen Movie. I love that film. But this is a perfect example because Anne Hathaway's obviously insanely gorgeous. Put some glasses and some messy hair, and she looks, I guess, ugly. I don't know. It's classic. It's classic teen comedy look.
It's a good time though. Even for boys, I really enjoyed this movie. I liked it.
It's funny. Hey,
Yeah.
funny's funny. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's in the movie. Funny's funny.
That's true, man. You know what else is funny? At number 77, Darjeeling Limited.
Yes, it is.
A really great Wes Anderson film, honing in on his style in a big way. Adrian Brody, Jason Schwartzman, and Owen Wilson play three brothers who go on a journey on the Darjeeling Limited train journey to finally see their mother after many years. This is beautiful, so well shot. I love the music. I love the characters. Everyone's so specific. The costume, the wardrobe, the colors of the movie, everything about it's really special. And it's the three actors, they are so good together. You feel the kinship, you feel the strife, you feel the past that they're all dealing with. And then there's a few flashbacks in this. I love the flashback of taking the car to the car shop like right before their father's funeral. Natalie Portman has a tiny role in the short film that she has one shot in this movie. But it's like you don't get this creative with comedies. It's Wes Anderson is clearly still was back then the most creative comedic director of the time, and he was doing stuff that nobody else was doing.
So Natalie Portman, she fits the tone of his humor so well, and she's got the cameo in this. But then she made that short film with Wes and Jason Schwartzman. Do you remember what that's called? It takes place in Paris.
It's on Paris.
They're living in a hotel room. It's like a 40-minute.
No, yeah, that's the short I mentioned.
Oh, okay, yeah,
yeah. It's tied to the movie.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Because it's surprising she hasn't been in more Wes Anderson movies because because I can't think of one she's been in besides that. Because
Hotel Chevalier.
Yeah, Hotel Chevalier. That's one. It's really good. If anyone's never seen Hotel Chevalier, check it out.
Yeah, she's great in it. I don't know why they never worked together again, but
probably just scheduling.
Well, also the thing I probably have a reason why she ultimately didn't feel comfortable doing nudity that the script called for in that short film
in Hotel Chevalier.
Yeah,
and so she just doesn't want to do it anymore.
Maybe she didn't have a good experience.
Yeah, maybe
working on it.
Who knows?
Because I mean,
Wes does put nudity in some of his movies for sure.
And
most recently, French Dispatch used to do.
But she was uncomfortable about it. I'm not sure if she put up any concerns during filming, but definitely after filming, she said she kind of regretted doing it.
Copy.
That might be why she never worked with Wes again.
Maybe. It's not a bad theory at all. Let's move on to number 76 on our list. We have Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. This is
applesauce.
Such a silly movie. Kevin Smith, obviously, writing, directing, reprising his role as Silent Bob, and Jason Mewes as Jay. We have great cameos from Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in this because they get to revisit their bar scene from Good Will Hunting. It's hunting season, bitch. It's hunting season.
Gus Van Sant.
Gus Van Sant.
Gus, action?
He's counting his money.
I'm busy, guys.
He's counting stacks of money.
I'm busy, guys.
Funny movie, so silly. And it's ridiculous because it's fun because we get to follow Jay and Silent Bob, who are really just side characters in multiple Kevin Smith movies. Mm-hmm. You know, Clerks and Mallrats, but then they get their own movie, and they've even made a sequel after this as well. And I think this movie's a lot of fun.
And it's about getting the movie made from their idea.
Yeah.
And going through the Hollywood system. There's the monkey.
They try to court Ben Affleck, right, to produce it.
They befriend a monkey, a chimpanzee. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I can't remember too many specifics. It's been a minute. All right, next up at number 75, we have Me, Myself, and Irene, an iconic Jim Carrey performance, which let him go into R-rated territory in a great way. Co-starring Rachel Zegler, who's perfect, bouncing off of him. And he plays a nice, decent guy. He's a highway patrolman who happens to have split personality disorder.
Because he's so nice. And he doesn't let out any of his negative emotions. He holds it all in. And so it all comes to the surface and manifests in another personality. What's his personality's name? Hank. And I can't remember. I feel like his personality has a different name, unless I'm wrong. Yeah, I can't remember. I saw it like last year, and it's a lot of fun because while you're looking that up, it's just he's this guy who
Charlie. He's Charlie. His personality is Hank.
Yeah, and he's held everything in forever, and he finds out that his wife cheated on him and gave birth, and when they're in the pregnancy, it's triplets of black boys,
He's like, they're beautiful.
And then his wife runs away with the other guy.
Yeah.
And then he raises these 3 boys as his own, and they're
yeah.
so great and so funny. Anthony Anderson's one of them. And he's a great dad.
I love how they're all very articulate and successful.
Super
and
smart.
And he put everything into raising them.
Yeah.
And then they're growing up. They're going to college. And now he's like, now what do I do?
And then Irene, played by Renee Zellweger, she is a witness, I believe, in a murder case or something like that. And he has to drive her to a different part of the state.
To protect her.
He has to drive her somewhere else. But while they're on the road, his other personality starts to come out multiple times. He's trying to fight him back, but Hank has a mind of his own, obviously. And it's really funny, great physical comedy, lots of great humor. And again, it's a blast.
Why am I peeing like I had sex all night?
It's like Split. Hank pretends to be Charlie. Oh my God.
Hank is vulgar and insane, but it's so funny. It really is. I mean, he didn't do that many R-rated movies, and this was an early one, I think.
Yeah.
They went R for this.
Next up, we have Role Models at number 74.
Good
Sean
one.
William Scott back again. And with Paul Rudd, who is really, I feel like, coming back as a big comedic actor. Obviously, he's in movies in the 90s and a lot of rom-coms here and there. But I think this is the start of Paul Rudd. This and Knocked Up were huge for him.
Yeah.
And they play these role models of these younger kids because these kids get
Ronnie
in trouble,
and
right?
Augie.
Yeah, Ronnie and Augie. But them two, they work for like a Red Bull company.
Yes,
And
an
they
energy
get
drink company.
they get in trouble. It's either a community service or go to jail. And so their community service is to sort of be these role models for these younger kids who are very dorky and very silly. Christopher Mintz-Plasse is great in this film.
Well, now Christopher Mintz-Plasse's character would be cool considered by popular culture, being a cosplayer.
Well, it's not cosplayer; it's LARPers.
That's
it's a blend
medieval
of both. Yeah, the
LARPers.
medieval LARPers. So it's not they're not like really fighting too much, but it's a blend of all that, of like medieval times.
And Kiss, the band, has a major part to play in this movie because they dress up as Kiss, and Kiss is like their favorite band. But it's a fun movie.
Yeah, they just have to be mentors.
Elizabeth Banks is Paul Rudd's ex-girlfriend in this.
Yeah.
She's funny in this. But yeah, I love Sean William Scott and Paul Rudd together. They had a great chemistry together. Next up, at number 73, we have Idiocracy from Mike Judge. His big follow-up, highly anticipated from everybody wanted to see what the guy from Office Space was going to come out with. Idiocracy is great. Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph, Dax Shepard, Terry Crews. Excellent cast. Luke Wilson plays Joe, who I can't remember how, but he wakes up from his average life. He wakes up and he's like 400 years in the future, something like that. And the world is insane. There's like a reality TV star as the president, not too far off from our own reality. Gatorade is what people give plants. It's got what plants crave. Electrolytes. What are electrolytes? It's what plants crave. But the world's falling into disarray.
The way they talk, I remember he calls like a hotline. He's like, "Hey man, like you basically have a lot of dumb shit, and you like can't do that. So like basically, what's gonna happen is you're just full of dumb shit. It's just you're dumb."
Yeah. So essentially, America is just the world's full of idiots, and society has become idiotic. And he's of average intelligence in our world, but in the future, he is like the genius. And everybody's like, just the way he speaks and his ideas, they're always mind blown by things he says. So he becomes like an important member of the politics to the president. And it's absolutely insane. It's super funny, ahead of its time, got a lot of things right. I remember when it came out, people were like, this is ridiculous. But then people were like, oh, it's actually not too far off from what happened.
Next up, we have a banger. We have an Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson movie, Anger Management, which is so damn good. Adam Sandler plays this mild-mannered guy who has a temper that he's always trying to control. Mm-hmm. He has an incident on a plane. He accidentally punches a stewardess, I think,
something
flight
like
attendant,
that. Yeah,
and it sets him off. Then he's in court and he's sentenced to anger management, a program run by Jack Nicholson's character. And of course, Adam Sandler has a ridiculously hot girlfriend, Marissa Tomei, in this one. The Yankees are involved. And he's basically on this journey of trying to control his anger while Jack Nicholson's character is trying to trigger him and control him at all times. He plays Buddy Rydell. And it's sort of this big sort of conspiracy game against him. He doesn't know it's real anymore. And It's a lot of fun, and it has a great ending, great twist. I really enjoyed Idiocracy. Anger Management.
Anger Management's awesome. They're great together. I love their sessions, and Jack Nicholson has very unorthodox methods. And you think he's out to ruin Sandler's life, but ultimately he's out to try and save Sandler. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right, next up at number 71, we have Shrek 2, which came out way back in 2004. This is a wonderful sequel. They upped the ante with the comedy. There's musical numbers, great villain. We get Puss in Boots, and then the fairy godmother as the big bad, which is really great. I had a lot of fun with this one. We watched recently. It's better than I remembered. Obviously, highly successful, the most successful on this list by far. But Shrek 2 is a great sequel. It's a delightful movie, and the fairy godmother I love has become iconic and well loved by millennials, and it's like a big meme-ified character. But then also, the introduction of Puss in Boots, Antonio Banderas adding him to this world obviously was a huge thing because he's got his own movie. But Shrek 2 is wonderful.
Number 70, we have an action comedy, which is still a genre that still has some bangers in the last few years. The Nice Guys comes to mind as one of my favorite recently.
That was like 10 years ago, man.
No, that was like 2016. But recently-ish, I guess.
That's almost 10 years.
Is it 2016? Is that long ago?
Yeah, it's almost 10 years.
God, it's an old movie. Holy shit.
You can't say, 8 years, that's not a few.
Anyways.
Yeah, a while ago.
I guess. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, starring Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, directed by Doug Liman in 2005. Great concept. Two insanely hot, talented, sexy people are secret agents for competing agencies, and they meet randomly when one of them, they're both on a mission, I believe, and one of them needs cover, but they don't play it off. They pretend like they don't realize that they're both secret agents.
Exactly.
And then they fall in love and get married.
For real.
And then they have...
yeah.
But they
Gotcha.
They have intimacy. They're and they fall in love. But then they get married for cover.
Yeah.
As covers for their real profession. Like, I'm just a married person. I live at home. It's classic, like, sort of conspiracy, espionage sort of setup. And then they both start to learn. I believe one of them gets a glimpse of the other on a mission. And
she sees him through her sniper scope.
Yeah.
She sees the way he pisses and he shakes his right leg when he does it.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait a second. And then she learns everything she does about him. And then she's acting suspicious, so he becomes suspicious.
And then they discover they're both secret agents.
Yeah.
And it's really great. It's a lot of fun. I love the first hour of this movie. And, it's fun when they start to team up and they do their action stuff. And they have that big, hot fight inside the house where they destroy their home in their fight against each other. It's got a lot of great humor. These are the two of the biggest stars on the planet at the time, still today.
Made $500 million.
That's a lot of money. So this might be the most successful movie on this list.
Shrek made $1 billion.
Oh, did it?
Shrek 2, yeah.
Oh, well, you said earlier that there's a movie.
I said Devil Wears Prada is one of, if not the, but I said one of, and then I saw Shrek made $980 million. So then I just said Shrek. I just said 2 minutes ago, Shrek, the highest grossing movie on this list by far.
Anyways, but I love this movie. The reveal of how they kind of figure it out at the dinner scene when he knocks over the bottle.
Yes.
And she catches it. Or is it vice versa?
No, yeah, she catches it, but then she drops it.
Then she drops it.
Yeah.
With her insane reflexes.
And the knife, she's sharpening the knife. It's a great scene because you're like, are they going to fucking try and kill each other right now? It's great. I love it.
I think Mr. and Mrs. Smith's a good
Vince
time.
Vaughn's hilarious.
Yeah, he plays his buddy.
Yeah,
he's
like Fred.
Yeah, his like sort of...
Mom, we're under duress. We're code red right now, Mom.
His handler.
Yeah. It's really good. It's just a good movie.
Yeah.
It's an entertaining time. And they are great together.
I haven't seen the remake, the TV show, but I don't have an interest in it.
Yeah, I'm not interested in it either because it didn't look sexy or it didn't have the charm based on the trailer.
It didn't really.
Yeah,
It's just
didn't excite me.
It's a streamer.
Yeah.
Streamified.
I mean,
they streamified it. That's what we should start saying. Streamified it.
Streamified it. All right, something that hasn't been streamified because it's a highly offensive comedy. And that's a Road Trip. Todd Phillips' first movie as the director.
My boy.
He's all over this list. Todd Phillips is just like an all-time comedy director for sure. This is an iconic cast. We got Sean William Scott again, Breckin Meyer, who was big for a while.
Yeah, he's the lead in this movie.
Yeah,
right?
he's the lead. DJ Qualls, who had a good 2000s. Tom Green, and then Amy Smart. And this is a great comedy. So Breckin Meyer's character, he makes a tape, like an angry tape,
Not an angry tape. He's
No.
breaking up with his girlfriend.
He makes a breakup tape for his girlfriend, and he sends it to her in the mail because he thought she cheated on him, but then he learns that was a mistake. She didn't, and so he and his friends set off on a road trip to stop the videotape from getting to her dorm room at her college across the country.
Isn't the tape him sleeping with another girl?
I think it might be.
Actually, yeah, I think that's what it is.
I think it might be. Let me double check.
I think that might actually be the plot.
He sends Tiffany a videotape message, not a sex tape. He becomes paranoid when
He thinks it's a sex tape.
Yes.
Because he did make a tape with another girl. That's what it is.
Yes.
Something like that.
But he didn't make a sex tape and send it to her. He thought that she was cheating on him at college, and so he panicked and sent a tape to her because he was fearing infidelity.
Austin, Massachusetts.
What is Austin, Massachusetts? Boston. Oh, Boston.
Tom Green was funny, man, in this movie.
Yeah.
It's a great flick. They're on this road trip. This group of ragtag funny guys from college. Stifler, played by Shaun Scott, basically tags along, plays Stifler.
Plays
Stifler in this movie.
Yeah. That's the thing. He is Stifler again.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And it's raunchy
there's
as hell.
the smart guy. They had Finch.
Yeah.
This is American Pie, but on a bus, essentially.
And they get in ridiculous situations. Yeah, they go to the female sorority where they all DJ Qualls hooks up with a girl there. It's funny. I think there's a car explosion too. Like I think his car blows up. DJ Qualls, his dad's like chasing them down. Is his dad like a cop or something?
I think so. Yeah.
He's trying to find them. He thinks his son's been kidnapped because he's a very controlling guy.
Yeah.
And he has to get confidence over his father.
But this was Tom Green's coming out party, essentially.
Yeah, this and Freddy Got Fingered was big. But even though it was considered one of the worst movies ever. But he had that weird humor. He was big for 5-6 years. He
was big.
He was dating Drew Barrymore too.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I
I
remember.
think they got married.
I think they got married too. Yeah, they were married.
There was a time he was very funny. Not that he's not, but his movies were funny. Next up at number 68, we have Jim Carrey is back with Yes Man, a great comedy where he co-stars with Zooey Deschanel, and he plays a guy who's just kind of in a rut, very negative, and then he goes to a self-help group, the seminar, which unleashes the power of the word yes. And by living this affirmative, this point forward, he has to say yes to everything. And it forces him out of his comfort zone, creates these great transformative experiences, lots of humor, has Red Bull for the first time. You want Red Bull? I've had a couple Red Bulls right now. And
the guy from Flight of the Conchords is his boss.
Murray.
They have the Harry Potter party. Yeah, they have the Harry Potter party.
Oh yeah, the Harry Potter party, because he's so negative. And then Zoe like invites him to, and his past self would have been like, I don't want to go, but it's like, yes, I have to go. It's sort of like Liar Liar, except instead of not being able to lie, he can't say no.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
And it becomes a problem to the point where he's having fun at first, but then it starts ruining his life, saying yes to everything.
Bradley Cooper's in this movie too.
Oh, Bradley Cooper? What? Is he a bully?
2008. I'm trying to remember. 2008. Yes Man.
Bradley Cooper. Yes Man. Bradley Cooper. I'm trying to remember what his role is.
It might just be a cameo. I think he plays his friend.
I think he's a friendly character.
Yeah, he's one of his friends.
He's his buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, his buddy.
He's got two buddies. The other one we won't mention.
That's right, yeah. Peter.
The guy from, we won't.
It's like his longtime friend. That's what it is. Oh my God. Jesus, these early Bradley Cooper roles, unreal. Unreal.
It's not the first time we'll see him in a comedy on this list. But yeah, Yes Man's a lot of fun.
You know what else is a lot of fun? And it's a movie we fucking love.
Yes!
I still love it. I watched this last year, and it was great. Shanghai Noon. It's also, at number 67, it's also, in my opinion, one of the best-looking movies. I watched this last year. I was absolutely blown away by the cinematography.
It's great.
Yeah, Caleb Deschanel shot this. Deschanel's one of the underrated cinematographers of the 90s and 2000s.
Father of Zoe.
Yeah, he's the Deschanel's parent. He's a wonderful DP. This movie has incredible sets, great production, incredible costumes.
Landscape shots are wonderful. Sunrise, sunsets, golden hour.
But the first 5 minutes in China, like the fucking production there, it's like, holy shit, this is a Owen Wilson comedy?
Yeah.
What? It's beautiful. But then, I love it. Jackie Chan, Owen Wilson in a Western. It's silly. It's funny. The action is top notch. Great stunt work. Jackie doing his thing. Owen bounces off him so well. I mean, I would love to see them make another one of these, honestly. Shanghai Nights was good, too. Didn't quite hit the same funny bone and quality of Shanghai Noon, but it was still a good time. And I really love Shanghai Noon. I think that they're wonderful together. I love the period setting. It's just so cool. It's again, a rare Western. But Jackie works perfectly in the Western. Like, you wouldn't think it, but then, like, you see it and you're like, it just makes sense.
Yeah. It's really similar in a lot of ways to Rush Hour in terms of him being the secret agent or the secret warrior.
Highly capable.
Sent here to, even though he's sort of a runt in China in terms of the warriors, they look down upon him. He still goes on this mission along with the other warriors to try and rescue the princess who's stuck in America somewhere.
And I believe they don't respect him because of social class, because of his name.
No, he's kind of like not a bum. He's a goof in a lot of ways. Like he messes things up.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, because doesn't he like crash something or something?
I think he has a bad reputation for like messing things up.
You're right.
But he's trying to prove himself.
Yeah, but I love it. I love when they go to saloons. I love when they're in the bathtubs. And that's a great scene. Yeah. But the fights are awesome. Like, this is, like, for a lot of people in America, this was a big introduction to Jackie. You know what I mean? 2003?
This in Rush Hour. Well, Rush Hour in 1998 was massive.
Yeah.
But he's so big.
Yeah.
He was a big one of the
biggest star for 10 years.
One of the biggest stars in America, in the world, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up, the writer of that movie, Alfred Goff, actually followed us on Instagram recently.
Of Shanghai Noon?
Yeah.
What's up, Alfred?
We'll have to
make another one.
I'll invite him on maybe sometime. Next up, we have, where are we? Number 65. I love you, man. You lick my bass, man. Lick my bass. I love you, man.
I'm slapping that bass.
Slapping the bass. Great movie. We have Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. Just great comedy together. Jason Segel was getting so big and popular with How I Met Your Mother. He's terrific in that show. Paul Rudd booming in the mid to late 2000s with comedies. Rashida Jones, obviously from The Office. Andy Samberg's in this. And then Jon Favreau. Now, Paul Rudd plays this guy who is getting married to Rashida Jones. They're engaged, and their wedding's coming up. But he doesn't have any groomsmen because he doesn't have any best friends. He doesn't have any best male friends. And this is because he's always been, as Andy Samberg, his gay brother points out.
Samberg's in this.
Plays his gay brother. He points out that he's always been a boyfriend. He's never been a guy that's best friends with guys. He's always just been best friend with his girlfriend. He's always had girlfriends.
And Samberg's best friends with their dad.
Yeah. He's like, all right, well, who's your...
J.K. Simmons is their dad.
He's like,
they're like super buds.
Who's your best friend? Oh, Robbie. Your brother Robbie's my best friend.
It doesn't Samberg like sexualize men constantly?
Constantly, yeah. But it's a great concept. And so basically, Paul Rudd's character is on this mission of trying to find a best man and trying to find a best friend and best man. And he stumbles upon and meets this guy played by Jason Segel at an open house for a very swanky mansion. And they hit it off. They kind of have this great similar sense of humor. It's very childish humor. And he's this ultimate bachelor. And they start to just feed off each other and become best buds. He takes him to his house. I love how he talks about he has a jerk-off station. He's got a man pad with a jerk-off station. I have a jerk-off station, man. Come on. And ultimately...
Rashida Jones is his girlfriend, his fiance.
Yep. They're both obsessed with the band Rush. They both love playing bass. They love slapping each other's basses. You guys were licking each other's basses. Things start to fall apart, but eventually it has a great warm ending like most comedies do.
And I love, he makes the billboards. He borrows 10. He's like, can I borrow 10 grand? I can't tell you what it's for. And then he thinks that he ripped him off. But then he made all these billboards, like License to Kill, because he's a realtor.
Yeah.
There's one where he's photoshopped into like a ripped guy's body, the biggest realtor. And he's super pissed about it because he's embarrassed by it, but it gets him an insane amount of work. It's a really cute brother rom-com. It's a bro-com.
Bro-com. It's really sweet. I like it a lot. We have another one coming up.
We got Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Speaking of Segel, I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall. This was really big for two huge comedy stars that came out of this with Russell Brand and Jonah Hill, really doubling down on Jonah Hill's abilities in comedy, and then Russell Brand just blew up. And Jason Segel wrote this. He plays a guy whose girlfriend just broke up with him, Kristen Bell, Sarah Marshall, who's this famous actress. Just broke up with him.
On a crime TV show, yeah. He does the
like
music.
Veronica Mars.
He does the
Yeah.
music. All I do is ominous tones. Boom, boom.
But he's into puppets, and he wants to do a vampire puppeteer show. That's
A musical.
Musical. That's his dream. And after the breakup, he decides to go to Hawaii, where he accidentally goes to the same, what's it called? Resort as Kristen Bell and her new boyfriend, Aldous Snow, who's like a bad boy rock star. And then he bonds with the one of the workers at the hotel, played by Mila Kunis. And Jonah Hill is just one of the people that works there. He's
a
always
host
saying,
at the restaurant.
He's always saying weird stuff.
No, he's
You're just
so
gonna sit by
funny.
yourself?
Do you want like a magazine or something?
Seems so lonely.
This is before smartphones, guys.
Just one? just table for one?
It's gonna be super boring.
Paul Rudd's a surf instructor. You sound like you're from London.
I stopped wearing a watch when I came here, man. Oh, that's really amazing. Yeah, my phone does the same thing.
Oh man, it's so funny. It's really charming. It's hilarious. It's vulgar. It made $100 million. Very successful movie. It's a good time. It's a really good time. I like Forgetting Sarah Marshall a lot.
Moving on to another stoner movie. We have Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. This came out in the year of, what year is this? 2004.
Wow.
John Cho, Cal Penn, both have gone on to have great careers. You know, John Cho made it into the Star Trek franchise, and Cal Penn, he was working for Obama in the White House for a while.
Yeah.
He was his liaison, I believe, for the young kids. And this movie's great. Stoner comedies are sort of dead now, but we grew up with so many, and this one's a lot of fun. It's, I think, a lot more innocent and silly compared to past, I think, stoner comedies. It's raunchy still. It has the Van Wilder feel. Obviously,
It's surrealist, too.
Yeah, we're going to a college in some sequences. But, you know, Harold is sort of an uptight guy, and Cal plays Kumar, his friend, who's more of a loose stoner.
It's like he turned into the Van character. They put him.
Exactly.
He did it really well.
He kind of becomes Van Wilder, even though he plays
a
the
different character.
But there's a sequel to Van Wilder where he plays. He plays like Van Wilder basically. He takes on the reins.
Oh yeah, There's a
sequel to it. He becomes the king of the campus, and they just go on this crazy odyssey because they get high. Harold's having a tough time at work. He's had a bad day, and they decide to get high and go to White Castle to get burgers. But they're all, I think it's closed or something, so they have to drive far away to get
different
to
state.
So their goal is, no matter what, we're getting these White Castle burgers, but it gets to the point where they're in such crazy situations that it's not even worth it anymore. Neil Patrick Harris basically has a cameo in this as himself, and sort of as Dookie Howser, which is a lot of fun. It's silly, it's raunchy, and man,
NPH.
It'll make you hungry as hell.
NPH. It's a great movie. We watch this all the time. It was a great movie to watch with your pals. You smoke a little Mary Jane. You get some takeout. You put on Harold and Kumar.
They almost die a couple times.
Extreme!
They go
Code Red!
Harold gets arrested.
And then, what is it? NPH is driving a car and there's like a nude woman out the top
He's
window.
with a bunch of girls, yeah.
Oh, he's dancing with... He's with two topless girls out the roof. What do you call it? Roof window. Moonroof.
Sunroof.
That's like speeding past them. Oh my god, MPH in this movie. It's hilarious. I love it. I love Harold and Kumar. And how much money did this make at the box office? It made, $25 million. Obviously constituting a sequel because it was such a low budget. All right, next up, at number 63, we're keeping it raunchy with American Pie 2. This was a really good sequel. I mean, considering it made $250 million at the box office, brought the whole cast back. However, this time everyone's in college, and for the summer, the fellas rent a beach house to make the best summer ever. And then they're throwing raging parties, struggles between fidelity. Adam Brody's in this, in an early role of his. This is a good time.
I love the opening because, like in all the American Pie movies, the first act is always Jim doing something ridiculous and getting in trouble. Whether it's his parents walking in on him masturbating in the first one with the sock, and then this one, it's he accidentally super glues his hand to his dick because he thinks it's lube. And then it's that great. What's the song? The cover of the Michael Jackson song? Dun 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 dun. Oh no, it's Weezer. Hash pipe.
Yeah.
I got my hash pipe.
Oh, yeah.
He's on the roof trying to walk around.
Oh, my God.
And that's the opening gag to this movie, which is hysterical.
Man, Weezer was so big back then. They were so
massive
big.
in
And
the 2000s.
then, but again, it has heart. Like, this is where, to win back his girlfriend, he plays trumpet and in front of the entire band camp.
Yeah, well, because the thing is, Nadia comes back, and Nadia still wants to hook up with Jim. But since prom, Jim isn't with, I can't remember her name, played by...
Band camp. What's her name? Another How I Met Your Mother star.
Oh, what's her name?
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, he's not dating her or anything.
Michelle.
But Jim also has been sleeping with other girls. You know, he's actually been having sex in school. So
Because they're not in a relationship.
No,
they just hooked up at prom.
And then they all come back. They're all in the same college, basically. And then Nadia's there. Nadia and Jim's trying to hook up with Nadia, but then Jim starts to fall for Michelle, and it's really the start of their relationship.
Yeah, they're not at the same college. They rented a beach house for the summer. That's why they're all together.
Gotcha. Because they're throwing a huge party, and Stifler's mom's there again with Finch. Finch has been doing like all this meditative stuff and preparing for his next encounter with Mrs. Stifler. He's been waiting. He's like been preparing just for Stifler's mom.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Oh man,
it's Kama Sutra. Yeah, that's what it is.
Kama Sutra. Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
Next up at number
Holy
62,
shit.
we have Saving Silverman. I forgot about this movie.
You forgot?
Man.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
I'm glad I
gosh.
put that on.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the one where Jason Biggs, he plays a guy who's engaged to this woman that his best
Amanda
friends.
Peets.
Yeah, Amanda Peets. His best friends know he doesn't love. And is really kind of just not right for him.
She's a monster.
Yeah, she's terrible to him. And then Steve Zahn and Jack Black play his buddies who are trying to ruin their relationship and also bringing his old flame, Amanda Detmer, back into his life.
So they kidnap her. And
That's what it is, yeah!
And hold her hostage.
I forgot!
Yeah. And they love like Michael Bolton, right?
Yeah, Michael Bolton. No. It's Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond. Yeah, and he has a cameo.
Oh, yeah, because his fiance tries to changes his whole entire life for him and controls him.
Yeah, so she just
crazy controlling.
She's extremely controlling and turning him into someone who's not. He's not. And he's just like happy to be with her. And so they're trying to save him. So he doesn't know they kidnapped her at first. They have the Neil Diamond shirt from one of his concerts on display.
One of them is an exterminator. And that's how they kidnap her.
Zahn's an exterminator. There's some really great hijinks in this movie. Zahn and Jack Black are phenomenal together. They're so funny. There's one where he dresses up like Commando to go undercover when he goes to kidnap her. Amanda Peet's really funny too. But I love when they try to kidnap her because Amanda Peet's a very powerful person. Like, they keep messing up. She keeps overpowering them. Jack Black has a stocking on, and they're like crying, trying to take it. And I think they subdue her by accident, if I remember correctly. I think she like falls down steps or something.
Yeah, doesn't Steve Zahn try to use a tranquilizer and he shoots himself? Yeah. I think he shoots himself with it.
But then once she's trapped, remember they're like, one of them has to feed her like a burger.
Yeah.
And she starts playing mind games on them and trying to seduce them. So Steve Zahn has to feed her a burger, and she starts like seducing him, like licking it off his hands and stuff. Yeah. And she almost breaks free. There's a lot of great comedy in this. This is
because she's trying to get out.
Yeah. There's a lot of great comedy in it. It's a funny as hell movie, man. It's funny.
Man, I forgot about that flick, dude.
Oh man, it's a good time. Next up at number 61. We're getting down there. We got 13 going on 30. The body swap movie. Well, not body swap, where a girl, 13-year-old, turns into a 30-year-old, played by Jennifer Garner, who is delightful. Great performance. I mean, she's so charming. This is a great cast. Mark Ruffalo plays her love interest. And Andy Serkis is in this. Judy Greer, Brie Larson. A great cast. And so she's trying to adjust to being 13 years old. It's her future self she becomes, right?
Yeah. She wishes to be older. Because
yes. It's not like she becomes 30. It's not like Big. I think it's just like fast forward to her being 30.
But it's the future.
Yes. 30. It's 30-year-old her.
But it's her brain, her 13-year-old brain inside of her 30-year-old body.
Exactly, yeah. It's a good movie. $100 million at the box office. A lot of great scenes, great fashion. Judy Greer is great as the friend. It's a good time.
Jennifer Garner is so good at comedy. She's on this list a few times.
Yeah.
And even though she was in Alias, which is that great spy action show, and has done plenty of action, but she does comedy so well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, moving on to number 60, we have Grandma's Boy. This is just a great stoner Really funny video game movie. Alan Covert, who plays so many cameos and small roles in Sandler movies. He's just one of Sandler's guys.
He's the caddy.
He's great. Yeah, he's caddy in Happy Gilmore. He's in so many movies. He's great as a lead. He nails the lead performance in this movie really well. He works at this game design company. It's working on a new game. And then times are tight, so he moves in with his grandma. And obviously he's dealing with his grandma and all her older friends. And they all start to sort of get along. And at the same time, there's a new manager for the upcoming video game. Linda Cardellini plays Samantha, who's running the team for the new game that's being designed by this prodigy game designer who made an incredible game at such a young age.
Joel David Moore, he's like a Matrix guy.
Yeah.
He's always dressed in leather.
JP's, how much do clothes cost in the Matrix? How did you see me? He's great in this movie as this secretive, elusive game designer, but so in over his head. He can't do it again. But Alex himself, he wants to design a game too. And Nick Swartzen's in this movie, really funny. Peter Dante, just a bunch of Sandler regulars. Jonah Hill has a cameo.
He calls his parents his roommates.
Yeah,
my roommates got me this car.
Your bed's a car. Yeah, but it's a sweet car. It's a sweet bed. It's so silly, so funny. I really like this movie. I saw it a bunch of times when I was younger.
Yeah,
if you were like a teenage stoner, this is the move, man.
We had a great time with this movie. It was always a fun watch with your friends. Like, this is like one of those movies you just get together and just giggle for 2 hours straight. And it's absurd. It's a movie, because the humor, like, they're all grown kids in a way, and they're learning to grow up. And that's why the comedy works for teenagers and young boys. It's like it's perfectly geared towards them. And Cardellini's great.
Salt and pepper, salt and pepper, salt and pepper here.
That's a good time. There's a lot of great one-liners in this that we used to quote constantly. All right, next up, we got Eurotrip. Another trip one. Don't tell Scotty. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. So the lead character.
He did it on his birthday. Scotty doesn't know.
Don't tell Scotty. Scotty discovers that his girlfriend's been cheating on him, so to get over it, he and his friends go to Europe for a trip. That's it. That's the plot, right?
Yeah, well, he has a pen pal in Europe.
Pal, yes.
Of course, this insanely hot woman in Europe who's going to be, I can't remember I think it's Italy they go to or something like that. Yeah, they're in Italy. Because the Miscusi, that guy in the train, Miscusi guy.
Miscusi.
So him and his friends, they go on a trip to Europe, obviously, to meet her and to confess his love to her. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. It's a great comedy journey. Comedy Odyssey is just a great genre. Lots of laughs. Silly stuff.
The Italian guy, he's like, doesn't he try to hook up with them every time they go through a tunnel? He has less clothes on.
Yeah. He's closer and closer. Miscusi. And then they actually think that they somehow get inside the Vatican.
Yeah.
They set the flame that lets everyone know that the Pope has died, and he's wearing the whole outfit, and they think a new Pope has arisen or been selected, so he goes out.
They get in with footballers. Vinnie Jones plays a football fan.
Yeah.
And then there's a
hooligan.
There's a hostel bit where one of them gets put up on the hostel thing, like with a torturer. There's a lot of great bits. It's not hostel.
It's like that German underground BDSM.
Yeah. That's what it is. I don't think I understood what it was when I was a kid, though. I thought it was a hostel thing.
Man, what a funny movie.
This is raunch to the core. Matt Damon, one of the all-time greatest cameos ever. They made a sequel, Eurotrip, the movie Part 2.
Is this National Lampoon?
No. This is not. It is not.
Not.
Just Eurotrip. But yeah, it's a good time. We watched it. We loved it. It's silly. The mime.
Oh yeah, the mime.
The silver medal mime.
Yeah.
That he gets into like a fight with, right?
It's a silly movie.
Yeah.
Let's move on to maybe the most successful film in terms of return on investment on this list. Insanely profitable comedy, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. This movie was made for $5 million and it grossed $360 million at the global box office. And this was a script that Nia Vardalos wrote. She plays the lead character of Tula, and she wrote the screenplay directed by Joel Zwick, and it's really terrific. It's so funny. It's classic family humor and family hijinks and relationships mixed with the culture of Greek culture, where she's getting married, obviously, to this guy, and she has to introduce him to her family. But her family's crazy, like all of our families are, in the best, most funny ways. All these great jokes, like the father with the Windex. He thinks Windex is great for everything. It's good for your skin and good for your hands. But it was a huge hit. This movie killed. I think this movie was just great for, middle-aged adult women who just went to the theaters and drove to this film.
Oh yeah, our mom loved it.
Mom loved it.
I love it. I think it's a
It's a
the
delightful
Windex.
movie. Yeah.
All sprayed with Windex.
It's like he doesn't listen to when I'm talking, guys.
There's a hole in this cake. I was half listening. Did you mention the Windex?
I did for about 40 seconds.
I believe you. James talked about Windex for 2 minutes straight. I didn't even know.
You had no idea.
It's a very sweet movie too.
Yeah.
It's a very sweet movie. I think it's one of the best romantic comedies on this entire list. It could be. All right, let's move on to at number 57, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, from director-writer Shane Black, part of the Robert Downey Jr. Renaissance. He co-starred with Val Kilmer and Michelle Monaghan. He plays like a petty criminal who, while he's on the run, he accidentally auditions for a movie, gets the part, and he finds himself in Hollywood, and in Shane Black fashion, gets himself in the middle of a conspiracy, which gets him linked up with Val Kilmer. Michelle Monaghan plays like his childhood sweetheart ex. It's great dark comedy. Kilmer and Downey are great together. Super funny. He's kind of like a bumbling idiot, and Val Kilmer's always basically babysitting him in a way. It's a fun time. They're really great together. And Downey proved that he could lead a movie with this film.
Next we have, well, I guess you could call it a classic comedy, because then it just got remade with Zoe Kravitz, High Fidelity, starring John Cusack and Jack Black and Lisa Bonet, obviously, which is a kind of cool thing that Zoe Kravitz starred in the remake with her mother being in the original. I haven't seen this movie in so goddamn long. So he plays Cusack's the manager of a record store, right?
He manages a record store, and this is when, it's not like records now where it's cool and people are getting more interested in physical media. This is when CDs were blowing up and everybody is just the new tech, and people were obsessed with the new tech. And so records weren't cool. And so he owns a record store and nobody goes there. And he's dwindling business. So him and Jack Black just basically shoot the shit and talk about music all day. It's kind of like Clerks. I mean, a lot of the film takes place either in the store or in his place or just in the neighborhood. And it's very much a mumblecore movie in a great way. And he and Jack Black are great together.
Next up, we have, you're up next, right?
Yeah, with Shrek.
Ooh.
Shrek at number 55. Nobody saw this giant hit coming from DreamWorks, and Shrek is one of the best animated films of all time, one of the most successful. It's hilarious. I love the blend of putting all the fairy tale stories together, all these characters in one. Shrek the Ogre is just one of the great characters, especially in DreamWorks history. And I mean, we all love Shrek. It's Shrek. You know the stuff.
You know the Shrek.
Yeah, you know the Shrek.
Get out of my swamp. Get out of my swamp. Number 54. We have another Christmas movie, a very sweet one and also very funny. We have Love Actually. We talked about this in our we did an episode. Was the best Christmas movies last year?
Yeah,
it made that list for sure. It's about these 9 characters and different stories that are all intertwined and complex and connect with love, and some of them are interconnected. Insane cast: Hugh Jackman, Liam Neeson, Colin Firth, Emma Thompson, Keira Knightley, Bill Nighy, Alan Rickman, Thomas Brody, Sangster in a very young role for this movie, Laura Linney, Andrew Lincoln. This is Martin Freeman. This is the one where he's holding up the cue cards at the end of the movie. That's really famous for memes these days. Mm-hmm.
We did a Patreon review of it.
That's what it was. It's a very sweet movie, and Hugh Grant plays a prime minister who's falling for one of his staff members. Liam Neeson's a stepfather trying to get his stepson to really, connect with him because of the loss of his mother has damaged their relationship. But really, all he understands is that his stepson's just trying to talk to a girl. It's really sweet. It's a good time.
It's a good time. All right, next up at 53, we have Be Kind Rewind from Mitchell Gondry, the director of Hold on. What's the fucking movie? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
From Mitchell
Jim Carrey,
Gondry?
Kate Winslet.
Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet?
Yeah. Or Your Racism.
Oh, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Sorry, it couldn't come to my mind.
I was like, wait. For a second, I was like, wait. Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey. In a
This
movie
was his
together?
follow-up.
Yeah, and that's not. I don't consider that a comedy. That's why.
No, yeah, it's not on the list. Yeah. Be Kind Rewind is a fun, quirkiness was a common theme in 2000s comedies.
Yeah, sure.
And this is one of those. Jack Black and Mos Def accidentally erase all of the VHS tapes in their video store.
Magnets, I think, do it.
Yeah, it's magnets.
Just like Breaking Bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Magnets, bitch.
Magnets. Science. And so they end up sweeting all of the movies by making them very low budget on their own and selling them as the movies, and it becomes very popular in the neighborhood. It's a very cute film and about the love of movies, and it became a very big trend of sweeting movies, sweeting trailers, making like very crude, tiny, no-budget versions of movies and trailers. It's a great movie.
Next, at number 52, we have Legally Blonde, which is getting a sequel, I think being filmed right now or soon. This came out in 2001, starring the great Reese Witherspoon. And she plays this very blonde and hyper-feminine pink, dressing woman, high fashion.
Pink dressing woman.
And everything's pink. And she really wants to marry her boyfriend. However, her boyfriend doesn't want to propose and says that she's too blonde, basically. I guess if that's
You're too blonde!
Too blonde! I guess that's a character trait, you know what I mean? And Elle takes this and decides, I'm going to go to Harvard and prove him wrong and win him back. And on her journey to Harvard, she falls in love with somebody else and learns a lot about herself.
Luke Wilson.
Changes for the better. And it's very sweet. It's very funny. Reese is hysterical in this movie. Great, great comedy. It also might have one of the worst Photoshop posters of all time. It's this Legally Blonde photo that it doesn't even look like. It looks like they just cut her head off another photo and put it on a different version. Hyper Photoshop photo.
Oh, yeah.
You know the poster
They
I'm
made
talking
her
about?
look like a Barbie doll.
Yeah, she literally looks like a Barbie doll.
Terrible Photoshop.
It's really bad. Like, it's a different hand holding the books than that's what's attached to her body.
It's a whole different. It's an animated. The body is an animation essentially.
Yeah, but it's a great flick, obviously, and classic.
What? Like it's hard.
You got into Harvard?
All right, listen. We're at number 50. So before we get to 50, it's time to get into our intermission.
That's
we're halfway
right.
through.
Oh my goodness! And
Yeah.
before we continue, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost podcast, you all know, is to become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost podcast. Patrons get access to weekly bonus episodes of the show. You get access to the ad-free version of every single episode, so you can listen without any commercial breaks on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, or wherever you listen to, as well as you get access to our Discord. You get perks like free merchandise, video messages, all kinds of things. Sign up today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost podcast. Another great way to support the show. Again, you guys all know the drill. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. If you haven't done it yet, just pop up to the top of our feed on Spotify or Apple. Leave that 5-star rating, and that's all you have to do forever. It's there. You don't have to do it twice. It's done. It's finished.
DUNN done.
Also, subscribe on YouTube, like, comment. All these things help us get seen by new people, help us get discovered, help us chart higher and higher on podcast platforms. So thank you to everyone who's left those ratings and reviews. I'll read a written review out from Apple in just a minute. And I'm getting a tattoo of Anthony's choice at 4,000 Apple ratings. Now we've bumped it down to 4,000. I'm terrified. Hopefully you don't reach it too fast.
We'll get there.
And also, another great way to support the show, just share us with your family and friends. Word of mouth is the best way for a podcast to grow organically. So tell everyone you know about Raiders of the Lost podcast.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the #1 place to get your posters online today. Be sure to use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off your order right now. They have a huge selection of pretty much every movie and TV show imaginable in their poster library, as well as all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs. They just sent us these amazing new posters. I got Dracula. I got American Werewolf in London, A Nightmare on Elm Street. James has Kill Bill behind him there. They are beautiful posters, high-quality prints, very affordable prices. They have everything from your favorite blockbuster to your favorite Hollywood classic. So, for all of your poster needs, go to movieposters.com and use our promo code Raiders10. That will get you 10% off your order right now.
All right, let's get into the intermission, everybody, and begin with Framed. Framed. Are you ready for Framed right now, Anthony?
Yeah.
All right, Framed, we have our first image is some guy with a hat in the foreground inside of a car, and another kid. Oh, this is Equalizer 2. Equalizer 3.
I think you're right.
Equalizer 3. Bada bing!
Got it?
Got
wow.
it.
Nice one.
Less than 20 seconds.
Nice one, dude.
He plays the Italian father.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Cool. Sorry, guys. I'm too good.
That was fucking great, man. That was great.
I only know that because I saw that movie like 8 months ago.
I love that movie.
It's a cool opening scene, too.
It's a fun time.
That's early in the movie,
Yeah.
and then inside the wine room where he kills all those guys.
Oh, my
that scene
God.
is sick.
Woo!
That scene is very sick.
Still got it. He still got it.
All right, Anthony. I believe it sounds like there's a helicopter in our backyard right now.
I believe it's some kind of lawnmower for the football field.
Oh, possibly. I don't know if
You
anyone
want
can
to
hear.
close the window?
No, the window's already closed.
Oh, yeah.
That's how loud it is.
Wow.
I think it's gone now. Anyways, probably no one heard it because our mics are pretty well.
Don't worry, man.
Contained.
It's all good. If they hear rumbling, it's that.
Yeah, just so you know. Moving on to our movie quote competition, everybody. Are you ready, Anthony?
Ready.
I'm Ryan Dunn, and I'm about to get the shit kicked out of me by a girl.
Huh. I don't know.
I'm Ryan Dunn, and I'm about to get the shit kicked out of me by a girl.
I don't know.
This isn't. Jackass the movie.
Oh, okay.
That's how they open their bits all over.
You're
us,
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was thinking of like a narrative movie.
Yeah, Ryan Dunn's the one that passed away. He had that accident.
What was the accident?
He I think he crashed a Porsche or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, like a real accident.
Yeah, he died.
Oh, damn.
He
Wow.
died after I think the second one. I'm pretty
And that's
sure.
why he's not on the third. Gotcha.
All right, your turn, pal.
Two people talking. He has a 5-year plan. What is it? Don't die?
Big Daddy.
Yes, a movie that did not qualify for our list because it was right before 2000.
1999 or 98?
I think it was 98
What
or
a
99.
banger.
Or 99.
Otherwise, it would have made the list for sure.
Yeah.
Anthony, guess this movie release year. Panic Room.
Panic Room was 2002.
He's correct, everybody.
Yeah, you did it like 3 weeks ago.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, I didn't do
Yeah,
that.
I said it was like 98. And you were like, Kristen Stewart would have been a baby.
Maybe that did happen.
Yeah.
I totally
I'm happy to get the W.
Totally
I'm
forgot.
happy to take that W. What year did Happy Gilmore come out?
Ooh, good question. 96?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Bada bang.
2 for 2.
Can't stop me. Anthony, movie pop quiz time. What James Bond movies came out in the 2000s?
In the 2000s, okay. Casino Royale,
1,
Quantum of Solace,
2.
What year did Skyfall come out? What was the year of Skyfall? I'm going to say it was post 2010. I'm going to go with those. Wait, was there one in 2000?
You tell me. Is it those two or is there another one?
That's a good question. What year did Die Another Day come out? I'm going to say Die Another Day.
Got it.
3.
Yep. So Die Another Day was 2002.
Aha.
And then we have Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace,
Gotcha.
2005, 2008, or 9.
Wow, they didn't really wait that long for a reboot. I thought they waited longer.
Yeah. Or was Casino Royale 2006? It was very close, sir.
It was after Batman Begins.
Yeah, 2006.
That's how I remember the 2000s.
Christopher Nolan's filmography is how I remember everything about my life. Oh, Inception came out in 2010, the same year that this happened. All right, gotcha.
Yeah. You almost got me. This is a good question.
It was.
I almost forgot Die Another Day was post 2000.
I'm pretty sure Skyfall is 2012.
I think Skyfall was 2011.
Let's check. Skyfall came out in 2012.
2012. Nice. Okay. Which movie made more at the box office? Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison?
Oh, that's a good question. Billy Madison.
Incorrect.
Ah.
Happy Gilmore made twice as much.
What did it make?
26 mil.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, Anthony.
I'm sure they both made really well DVD sales.
Oh, for sure. What do we got for haters?
Oh, we got some good ones. I got them right here.
Right here.
All right, we got Adam Hobby on your Arthur Fleck clip with left hand, right hand. Adam wrote, ever consider that Arthur is just amphibious? Unsubscribed. So I replied, a lizard? Resubscribed. Ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Is what you were looking for.
I was going to say.
Sorry, Adam. Next up, Brian. You guys are the best movie podcast out there, hands down. Unsubscribed. Thanks, pal. That was a very sweet unsubscribe. I like it. Joker. No, movie news. First to unsubscribe by Boris. Let's go, guys. Should be a great episode. Cushy Mike replied, 3 hours until an unsubscription. Unsubscribed. Joe Tade wrote, Gabriel Byrne was in Hereditary. You won my first unsubscribed.
Oh my God, he's the father in Hereditary.
Gabriel Byrne's in plenty of stuff. James said Gabriel Byrne was not in a big movie until after Usual Suspects.
I didn't word
Absolutely
it. I didn't word
ridiculous.
it like that. I said not that many. Big
You said
movies.
not one. You said no big movies. You said he was in no big movies after Usual Suspects.
Anyways,
End of Days.
that's right. He's the devil.
Yeah. Ghost Ship. He was in a bunch of movies.
Anyways,
They just,
man,
like I said,
forgot he's in
they
Hereditary.
just weren't big. They just weren't good movies, is what it is.
I never put 2 and 2 together.
You
The
nev- you never-
glasses, man.
You never do.
The glasses and the gray hair just totally fooled me that wasn't Gabriel Byrne.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm blown away.
Thanks for calling them out, pal. That's what they're here for.
Thank you so much.
Then we got. Sorry, 1 second. I'm scrolling.
I got
through.
called that. We got called out in the review.
Oh,
It
really?
was 5 stars, but it was an unsubscribed.
The Northern Journey. Oh, I know that I did that yesterday. Okay, we're good. You're right. I did a ton yesterday.
Yeah, you should have saved some.
I did 16.
I was trying to
unsubscribes.
tell you. You looked at me like, I have plenty. I'm gonna keep going. I was like, all right, bro.
It's because I didn't look at comments this morning. I'm sure there are some.
We have a great 5-star review from Bob Shower.
What's up, Bob?
His subject is unsubscribe. 5 stars. A Bronx Tale taking place in 1960s Chicago. Be right back. Going to watch LA Confidential, my favorite Miami movie. Unsubscribe. I totally did say
favorite
I don't know why I said 1960s Chicago. That was dumb.
That's funny.
Thanks, Bob, for keeping me in check for
My
that
favorite
brain.
Miami
my huge brain fart on my part. Thank you for leaving a 5-star review too. Appreciate it so much. That was good. Anthony, what's your streaming recommendation?
Death Becomes Her on Max. It's a movie I've always wanted to watch. I just always forget to. This is a Robert Zemeckis film starring Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, and Goldie Hawn. It is hilarious. So Meryl Streep steals Bruce Willis from Goldie Hawn and marries him. She's a semi-famous actress. Bruce Willis is a plastic surgeon. And then Goldie Hawn comes up with a plot to win her back. 20 years later, she's somehow more beautiful than ever at 50. And Meryl Streep is threatened by her and confused. And Goldie Hawn tries to plot with Bruce to kill Meryl Streep. But Meryl Streep is given this elixir of life which rejuvenates her youth, makes her look young again, and makes her basically immortal and live forever. And then she goes out to kill Goldie Hawn, only to discover that Goldie Hawn already took that potion and is immortal too. So they have like this battle back and forth where they can't kill each other. And then they decide to try and get Bruce Willis to take the potion so that he can keep them looking youthful with his plastic surgery. And because they're dead now, they're like the living dead, they have no blood, so he needs to like paint them with spray paint to make them look normal. It's insane. It's fun body horror. This is like, I'm sure you know the image of Meryl Streep's head turned backwards in a dress. That's that movie.
I've just never seen this movie.
It's really good. I loved it. Death Becomes Her. It's phenomenal.
I forgot.
You forgot to do a streaming rec.
I forgot that I have to do mine.
Oh, okay.
Mine is Ford vs. Ferrari
Oh, nice.
on Hulu.
Excellent pick.
It's a great film, but it's also very funny. A lot of great jokes. I like the fight they do in the front of his apartment with the bread.
Oh, yeah.
The Wonder Bread.
Yeah.
I miss Wonder Bread. You can still get it, but I never get it anymore.
It's not good for you.
Yeah.
It's not that good for you.
And let's get back to our remaining 50 greatest comedies of the 2000s, and starting off at number 50 with, it's Anthony's turn, right? Your turn?
It's my turn,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I took
It's
your-
okay.
I
It's
took it.
okay. We got Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. This is a great spoof of the musical biopic, which had been done so many times before. John C. Reilly leads this film as Dewey Cox, who is, like a spoof of all of the solo artists, musicians that we'd seen in biopics who go to quick success, fall into drugs and alcohol, and have a downward trend in their career, only to get it back again at the end. And he's great. It's a phenomenal movie. We have great scenes like the Beatles, where he meets the Beatles, and a bunch of great actors play all the Beatles. There's like the weed scene.
You don't want none of this, man. That's the best part. You don't get hungover.
I don't want to get addicted.
It has no addictive properties.
It's not addictive. I don't want to like mess up sex or anything. It makes sex better. Get out of here, Dickie. It's so funny. Jenna Fisher plays his love interest, and he has Edith. Kristen Wiig is the other woman. There's a little triangle. This basically hits all the beats that cliche biopics hit, and they have fun with it. It's a really good time. It's got good music too. It's a fun movie. Didn't do that well. It was kind of a loss. They spent a lot of money on it, but with high hopes. But it's still a good time.
Moving on, number 49, we have Jackass, the movie, 2002. Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Bam Margera, the whole gang is here.
My God.
And obviously the show was so popular when we were young in the 90s, and then they got a budget to make an actual movie, and they didn't disappoint with this. The pranks, the stunts, the gags are bigger and better and funnier than ever. It's insane. It's dangerous. It's toxic as hell in the best ways possible. It's so silly, and goodness, what a fun time.
I think it made a ton of money too. I want to look up the box office real quick.
Budget was only $5 million.
Because the new one made a good amount of money. Made $80 million. Wow, a lot of people saw that. All right, next up we have Ratatouille. My favorite Pixar movie. I think it's so charming and delightful. I love food. I love Ratatouille. Remy's super cute. I love his family. And then Luigi, great villain. It's just a good time. It's great music, and it's very, very funny.
The villain is a food critic.
No, the villain is the chef.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Next up, number 47, we have Zombieland, a great action horror comedy starring Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Abigail Breslin, and Emma Stone before she was an Oscar winner.
Two-time Oscar winner.
Before she was two-time Oscar winner. Zombieland, great humor. It was a fresh take on the genre based off the graphic novel of the same name. Lots of fun in terms of the first-person narrative with Jesse Eisenberg, and then all the graphics and text and the rules with zombie survival. You know, Woody Harrelson is hysterical in this movie as well. California, everyone sort of gets connected together on this journey where he's trying to find his parents in a different city, and it's great comedy, great chemistry between the four leads. The sequel did not live up to the original, but the first one's just a really good time.
Yeah, made by Ruben Fletcher, who did Venom's Gangster Squad, Uncharted, Now You See Me. Yeah, big director for Sony. All right, next up we have, at 46, a Will Ferrell movie, but the less outlandish kind. Stranger Than Fiction. Directed by, I believe Mark Forster made this. I'm going to have to double check that. And this is a movie where Will Ferrell plays an ordinary man who suddenly hears a voice in his head narrating his life. And he discovers that he's a character in a famous writer's novel. And he's going to die.
Everything that's being said is
happening.
What's about to happen.
And so he tries to figure out how to stop his death. He finds Dustin Hoffman's character, who's a literary professor, to try and help him figure out what's going on. And Dustin Hoffman immediately knows who the author is just based on the description that he hears. It's a great movie.
It kills her characters.
Yeah, she always kills her. They always die. She always kills them. It's a great movie. Well acted. A big surprise from Will Ferrell. He showed people that he can act and not just be a comedic performer. Maggie Gyllenhaal is great in this. Emma Thomas is amazing, as always. A great movie.
Next up, we have Bad Santa in 2003, starring Billy Bob Thornton, Bernie Mac, Tony Cox, Jason Ritter. And that's really pretty much the plot. You know, Billy Bob plays this Santa who's a terrible Santa impersonator, used to be a criminal, used to be a thief, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, used to be a thief, and now he works as a mall Santa, hates it, dripping bust the whole time. He's a terrible Santa. And then he gets embroiled in a heist plot at the mall. Bernie Mac's the manager, but he tries to not participate in it because his buddy who plays the elf in the show, that's what they do. They rip off malls.
Yes,
they rip off malls. That's
yeah.
what it is. But his ways are changing as he starts to be a father figure in a lot of ways for this young boy who he's taken advantage of. Can I fix you some sandwiches?
What the fuck's up with you fucking fixing some fucking sandwiches?
What's wrong with you, man, huh?
What the hell's the matter with you? I love Bad Santa.
Are you fucking with me?
You fucking with me, man.
I'm on my lunch break. This movie's really fucking funny.
Jason Ritter.
Yeah.
One of his last roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great in this. It's really funny. It's not PC. So if you want to watch this movie, prepare yourself for that. But it really is a top-tier Christmas movie. It made $75 million at the box office. Big hit. Big hit. Next up, we got Alexander Payne's Sideways, starring Paul Giamatti, Thomas Hayden Church. I love this movie. It's super funny. Also, a big success at $70 million box office. This is about a wino whose friend convinces him to go on a trip. And he sees, I can get a wine tour out of it as well. Thomas Hayden Church plays a womanizer who's always cheating on his fiancée. And Giamatti plays a guy who can never make it work with women. Sandra Oh is hilarious in this movie. Great cast. I love the movie. It's so well written and so well performed. It's Alexander Payne's a really very specific filmmaker. And Sideways is one of his best movies. I'm not drinking any fucking Merlot.
Next, at 43, we have Knocked Up, an excellent comedy with a huge cast from Judd Apatow, Seth Rogen, Katherine Heigl, Leslie Mann, Paul Rudd, Jonah Hill, Jason Segel, Jay Baruchel, Martin Starr, Maude Apatow, Kristen Wiig. The cast is enormous. This is Seth Rogen and his guys. They all kind of play versions of themselves. He accidentally he manages to have sex with Katherine Heigl, is way out of his league.
Entertainment. E.
And they have sex one night on a one-night stand, and she's pregnant, and then she decides to have the baby, and they kind of have to work through this relationship and figure it out, and they do try to make it work, but ultimately there are a lot of speed bumps along the way. It's very funny. It's a blend of like a girl getting pregnant comedy with a stoner comedy, coming of age comedy in a lot of ways, because he's just a giant like teenage adult in different ways. Mm-hmm. Really funny. Knocked Up is sensational. It's a pretty long film, but it flies by. The characters and the
It is a long movie, yeah.
The actors are superb. I mean, Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann together, they kill it, because it deals with so many problems, not just with this. Their marriage and their family dynamic is huge in this as well.
Go to India. It
looks like your computer has chickenpox.
Doorman.
Don't let the kids have any fish because there's mercury in the water. So many one-liners. Before everyone on this cast is really huge, because we have huge stars in this with Segel, Jonah Hill, Paul Rudd, Leslie Mann. Man, what a film.
It's great. It's a good time. Next up, we have School of Rock at number 42. Huge breakout for Jack Black. I believe he earned a Golden Globe for this movie as for best comedic performance. Giant box office, $130 million. He plays a failed musician who becomes he forges paperwork using his friend's name and educational history to get a job at a private school teaching music.
Substitute teacher,
thank you. And he gets them to form a rock band. And they take different positions, like there's the manager.
He's not even a music teacher. He's just supposed to be a substitute teacher.
Oh, yeah.
He uses music.
He uses music, yeah. And they start a rock band, and ultimately they compete at a rock concert, a rock tournament. Obviously, he gets in trouble and everything, but Jack Black has so much charisma, so much charm. He's an extremely lovable guy, and he does great with the kids. Miranda Cosgrove, early role for hers. She's tiny in this movie.
iCarly.
Joan Cusack plays the principal, if I remember correctly. Sarah Silverman's in this. It's an awesome movie. It's really delightful.
Let's move on.
It's also become a successful musical.
Yeah. And I can see this movie getting remade. I mean, Linklater is such a legend, and this is
this is Linklater.
I always forget that he directed this movie.
Is this his most successful movie?
Possibly.
$130 million, I think it is.
It's a huge hit. Next up at number 41, we have White Chicks, which is starring the Wayans brothers, Marlon Wayans and Shaun Wayans. And then we have Terry Crews in this as well, Jamie King, Busy Phillips. And so they play FBI agents who are trying to foil a drug bust. And as a punishment, they're forced to escort a pair of socialites to the Hamptons. And once the girls realize the FBI's plans, they refuse to go. So they have to go undercover as the two girls, and they dress up as white chicks. and it's ridiculous. It's hysterical. They just turn themselves into these blonde women. Prosthetics is pretty good in this movie. The makeup's really good. Terry Crews is in love with one of them. It's just so goddamn funny.
Yeah, Terry
man.
Crews is obsessed with one of them. Dude, it's great. This movie could not get made today. No
Jennifer Carpenter from Dexter's in this.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right. Man, it's funny as hell.
Yeah, they're trying to bait a kidnapper. That's their plan.
That's it, yeah. Next up we have, and they were clearly, I think, inspired by like Nicole Richie, Paris Hilton, you know?
Probably, yeah.
Like that, they were the
2000s
biggest,
Bimbo Belong thing.
Next up we have Punch Drunk Love, Paul Thomas Anderson's incredible romantic comedy starring Adam Sandler, Emily Watson, and Sandman plays this strange guy, Barry, who's got no luck in love or in life. He's got 7 sisters. He's very insecure. He doesn't know what to do in any situation, and he falls for a woman played by Emily Watson who's interested in him. He has serious anger issues and behavior issues, but he's working through it, and he finds a connection with a harpsichord that he finds on the street. It's a great movie. There's nothing like it. It's a very specific tone. I love the cinematography. I love the music. It's delightful. It's very charming and very romantic.
Emily Watson often falls in love with oddballs.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Punch Drunk Love, Red Dragon, she falls in love with a serial killer. Obviously, she's blind in the movie. She can't see the things that he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if she...
But he's very nice to her.
Yeah. Next up, number 39, we have Mean Girls. This came out in 2004. Goodness, on Wednesdays where we wear pink.
20 years ago? Oh
Goodness,
my God.
yeah. That's nuts. So obviously Lindsay Lohan plays Katie Heron, who moves from South Africa to America, and she starts to go to public high school, and she tries to fit in, and there are a couple different cliques that try to lure her into them. The mean girls, the popular girls lure her in, as well as after she makes friends with some normies. And then she sort of plans the demise of the big villain in this movie, Regina George, played by Rachel McAdams, who's awesome in this movie. Tina Fey is great. Amy Poehler's in this as the cool mom. They wrote the script together, right? Tina Fey and Amy Poehler?
No, just Tina Fey.
Oh, yeah, Tina Fey just wrote the script. And I think the original, obviously, is the superior version of this film.
You saw the new one?
No, the musical, I just heard, just not.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't sound great.
But you're not, so you're not talking from personal experience then?
I didn't have to see it. Amanda Seyfried's great in this as well. Lacey Chobert. Early role from Lizzie Kaplan as well. This movie's excellent. It's funny. It's relatable. We all have experienced those cliques in high school, and Lindsay Lohan was just such a big star at the time. It's such a banger.
At number 38, we have my favorite scary movie, Scary Movie 3, which is a spoof on The Ring, Signs, 8 Mile, The Sixth Sense.
The fucking rap battle.
There's so many good bits. Charlie Sheen plays the lead essentially, and he's like Mel Gibson on the farm with the kids. Anna Faris is always so funny, and she's got the kid who's like the kid from The Sixth Sense. He says weird shit. Your period will start 3, 2, 1. Oh. Aliens. George Carlin as the architect of the Matrix is great.
Oh yeah.
Great spoof of The Ring. Great spoof of Signs. I'm gonna need a ride home. And the opening with Pam Anderson spoofing The Ring. This is really, honestly, for scary movie ones, this one gets me nonstop. Like, I can watch this one over and over. I think it's endlessly hilarious. I think they did a really great job with this one. It's so funny.
Next, we have another Jim Carrey movie, Bruce Almighty, which is really terrific, starring Jim Carrey, Morgan Freeman as God in this movie, Steve Carell, pretty awesome role for him, Jennifer Aniston as well. And so basically, Carrey plays a news anchor who gets passed up for a promotion for Steve Carell's character, who's a bit of a bully in this movie. And he complains to God about it until God eventually shows up and gives him his powers. It says basically like, oh, if you can do a better job, here you go. Here are my powers. Everything you ever wanted, you can do yourself. And so Jim Carrey, he takes off with these powers. He sabotages his rival's career on air, embarrassing him on live TV. He is able to woo Jennifer Aniston, the girl he's dating, even more, pulling the moon closer and closer.
Pleasure.
Until he realizes that he's been using these abilities in selfish ways, learning the errors of that, and decides just to be himself by the end of the film. It's really great.
At 36, we have Super Troopers, which is a silly, ridiculous comedy about highway patrolmen and the hijinks they get into. Great cast. This was on all the time. Can't pull over. We already pulled over.
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Hey, what's that place like with all the shit on the walls? You mean tchotchkes?
No, shenanigans.
Shenanigans. You mean shenanigans? Somebody said shenanigans one more time. I'm gonna pistol whip the shit out of them. Endlessly quotable. So fun. We love Super Troopers. The cast is great. The Broken Lizard guys are hilarious. Farva, all of them. They're great.
You are tripping out, man.
It's a good time. Great opening for the film.
Yeah.
Pulling the guys over.
Sort of the contemporary version of National Lampoon is these guys.
Broken Lizard.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Number 35. We have Wedding Crashers, 2005. Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn are great in this classic comedy that still holds up. I watched it like 4 months ago. It's
good.
Still funny. Christopher Walken has a great role in this well. Isla Fisher, as well as Rachel McAdams, who was on fire in the 2000s with comedy as well. Owen and Vince play womanizers, best friends since childhood. They crash weddings. They've learned this from the ultimate crasher, Chaz, who we meet later on as Will Ferrell. And they crash the best wedding they've ever been to, where they both actually fall in love. One falls in love with Rachel McAdams. The other one, Isla Fisher, falls in love with Vince Vaughn until they do actually mutually fall in love. And the whole plan turns into Owen Wilson trying to win Rachel McAdams over from her boyfriend.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper. Early villain role.
Dude died in a hang gliding accident. What an idiot.
Mom, the meatloaf! The meatloaf, Mom!
We were kids just screaming, Mom, the meatloaf, all the fucking time. Oh, my God.
I love how so many comedies in the 2000s just, hey, Will, can you come do a scene for 2 days? Thank you.
But the whole theater comes alive when he's on screen.
Oh my God.
Nobody knew he was in it.
Like this, Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, nobody knew he was going to be in it.
Yeah, I know. It was just a big secret. When he came out in the red robe, because he's silhouetted, then he sits down and you're like, oh my God, it's Will Ferrell.
All the build-up. Grief is the most powerful aphrodisiac. I crash funerals now.
I got her at a funeral, man. It's the ultimate aphrodisiac, solace.
All right, next up we have the Coen brothers with A Serious Man, starring Michael Stuhlbarg, who plays this professor whose life is just falling apart from every direction. He doesn't know what to do, and he seeks advice from 3 different rabbis in the community, and no one can really help him. Cy Abelman? This is a great movie. I think it's probably the Coen brothers' most underrated movie they've ever made. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Great performances, a fun story. And they do a great job of tying like religious myths to what's happening. It has a great little opener too. It's like a period short film, horror short. I love the movie so much. It's great.
Next, we have a Pixar film, one of their best in the entire history of the studio, Monsters, Inc., all the way in 2001, starring Billy Crystal as Mike Wazowski, John Goodman as James P. Sully. These guys are monsters which exist in the real world, and they scare children at night to fuel their city with terror and frights. But eventually, as they learn throughout the course of the film, that a more powerful source of energy is laughter. And they end up using that later on. But it's a great film, so imaginative and creative, still one of my all-time favorite Pixar films, which is an absolute banger. I think Pixar was really shining in the early 2000s, mid-2000s.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, when Toy Story 3 came out around here, too. Ratatouille in 2007. Monsters, Inc. is just such a delight. Still funny, still holds up. I love it.
Toy Story 3 was 2010.
Oh, I just missed it.
My bad.
Toy Story 2 is still really good.
I put it on this list by accident.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
We're going to have to switch that.
Yeah, I'll switch it up. Don't worry. I'll get something. Next up at 31, we have 500 Days of Summer, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Zooey Deschanel. This is an iconic movie from the decade. It's one of the better rom-coms. It's charming. It's well crafted by Mark Webb. Really well directed. I almost said decorated.
Really well decorated film.
Good cinematography. It's a good LA movie. IKEA is in this. I love the IKEA scene. But this is a great what they do a great job with is showing the perspective of one person in a relationship and how that can be flawed and skewed, and how someone who gets broken up with doesn't understand why they were broken up with. And they did a great job exploring that and how someone can be completely confused about what happened.
Yeah.
And then you actually look at this movie on rewatches and you're like, oh, Summer was actually in the right the whole time, you know?
I adore this film so much.
Great craftsmanship. We get that great split screen scene. We get the great black and white Super 8 film about Summer's history and who she is. And it's got some great magic realism in it.
Really great editing.
The dance.
Yeah, the
dance
music
number.
video background for Mark Webb really went into full effect in this. He did a ton of music videos. This was, I think, his first big feature he did. Yeah. And then he got tapped to do the 2 Amazing Spider-Man movies.
He did the My Chemical Romance movie music videos.
Oh, the Black Funeral?
Yeah, he did that. That blew him up.
I think that's what it's called, Black Funeral or Funeral. The Funeral.
Something like that.
Yeah, I love 500 Days of Summer. We did a great episode on it like a year and a half ago. I really adored talking about that. That's one that I've always loved. I've seen that movie maybe 20 times. JGL is terrific in it. Next at number 32. Oh, wait, I think I messed up the numbering. So number 32, Burn After Reading is next. Written and directed by the Coen brothers. Absolutely hysterical film. Great cast. George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Frances McDormand, John Malkovich, Tilda Swinton, Richard Jenkins, J.K. Simmons. Basically, this is a sort of satirical espionage comedy of these interconnecting characters where John Malkovich plays a guy who worked at the CIA, gets demoted, and he's just fired, so he's just like living life.
Writing a manuscript.
He's writing a memoir.
A memoir
that Brad Pitt, who works at a gym, just stumbles upon. He tries to blackmail him for money. Everything gets involved because all these couples are sleeping together. There's so much infidelity, and it's just a shit show. It's so funny. It's ridiculous. Brad Pitt is just off the chain with his humor in this movie. George Clooney is really terrific in this as well.
White Plague Pine.
I love Burn After Reading. This one is just a delight. It's one of my favorite Coen brother movies.
Osborne Cox.
I am merely a good Samaritan.
You think that's a Schwinn? At number 31, we have another Todd Phillips film, something that we were way too young to see when we saw it in theaters, and that's Old School, starring Will Ferrell, Luke Wilson, and Vince Vaughn. A great trio, and 3 actors that ended up dominating the next few years in comedy. And this was a huge movie for Will Ferrell. He had a big 2003. Frank the Tank, Vince Vaughn.
Frank the Tank.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good. It's about three guys. They're in their mid to late 30s, and they start a fraternity because they bought a house. Luke Wilson got a house near a local fraternity. And then they start a fraternity and haze their guys and go through all the rounds, and then they actually legitimize their fraternity with the school. It's a great time. It's an absolute classic. We're going streaking!
To the quad, into the gymnasium. Take your green hat. Snoop-a-loop.
Snoop-a-loop. It has 3 speeds. I got you for that for Christmas this exact model? It gets like a kid a blender.
Yeah. He regifts his wedding gift.
Yeah. You're my boy, Blue! There's too many moments to quote in this movie. We don't have time. It's great.
This would be a great watch party movie.
Todd Phillips, hey, I'm here for the orgy.
The recruiting phase with Metallica playing.
Oh my God.
Master.
When they snatch them all.
Yeah. So funny. And then they tackle everyone, but then they help Blue into the car very gingerly.
Yeah, the van.
Yeah.
Oh man, love it.
Next up, we have a film that sort of just had no business being as funny or good as it was. Lightning in a Bottle, number 30, Napoleon Dynamite, 2004, starring John Heder and Efren Ramirez, directed by Jared Hess. This movie it's just so ridiculous, but it's almost magical how much it works and how funny it is. You know, Napoleon is just this loner at school. He's got a crush on a girl. His best friend Pedro and him are just randomly doing stuff. He decides to run for president. Pedro decides to run for president, class president. But really the plot is not really much going on except for just funny characters and just normal situations of how silly it is in the small town farm area. I mean, the farm scene with the guys who drink eggs and eat egg sandwiches.
Tina.
The dance number. Yeah, his llama Tina in the backyard. Eat the food. His brother Dale, who's chatting. He's
With
like,
hot
you're
babes.
just jealous of him chatting with babes all day. Who has a girlfriend who comes to visit him. It's silly.
His Uncle Rico. How much you want to bet I can throw a pigskin a quarter mile?
I bet you I could throw a football over those mountains. If only Coach put me in, man. Life would be a lot different.
Oh my God, it's one of a kind.
It's just, this movie somehow was amazing.
Yeah. You know what else was amazing? Dodgeball.
Yes, it was.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Dodgeball was one of the better comedies of the decade. Hugely successful, thanks to Ben Stiller. This grossed $170 million. Crazy amount of money.
Back in, 2003?
Yeah,
4?
2000 and... 2004. Ben Stiller, Christine Taylor, Justin Long, Vince Vaughn. A ton of great actors. Alan Tudyk, Gary Cole. This is just an amazing movie. It's so funny. White Goodman is one of Ben Stiller's best characters, and it contrasts perfectly with Vince Vaughn and the Average Joes. This is a movie I don't want them to ever make a sequel to because it could ruin it, just like Anchorman didn't work and Zoolander 2 didn't work. So there's no need to touch on White Goodman again. I think it's just great in its own. I read it in a book. Again, highly quotable. In our youth, we were riffing on these quotes constantly
Still
with our
quote it.
friends.
I think we still quote.
Yeah, we quote White Goodman pretty often.
Yeah.
This is we say I read it in a book
all the time, man. You reading the
Nobody
diction-
makes me bleed my own blood.
You reading the dictionary? I like to break a mental sweat. Caught me.
Michelle. There's a guy on our team dressed like a pirate.
Hey, it's Steve the Pirate.
An early Justin Long just there to get beat up and wrenches thrown at him. It's great. It's great.
Patches O'Houlihan.
It's a bold strategy, Carl. Let's see how it works out.
ESPN 8 the Ocho. Oh, man.
All right, let's move into number 28, James.
Number 28, we had 28. We have Team America World Police. Oh my God, this movie,
America.
This came
America.
fuck yeah, coming again, save the motherfucking world, yeah. Team America World Police, made by the creators of obviously South Park, Trey Parker, Matt Stone. This came out in 2004. Just such a silly puppet movie. About the whole thing is a joke in making fun of America and international society and, American industrial complex, North Korea as
Military industrial.
what did I say?
Just American industrial complex.
Military industrial
which
complex.
is a good
Sorry.
thing.
I forgot that one. But it's stopping a global terrorist plot with North Korea involved. Kim Jong-il at the time, who was the leader of North Korea, versus Team America, who go to stop him. They go undercover. So many
They
great
hire
jokes.
an actor to replace their leader.
So many great jokes. Matt Damon.
The
The puking scene is just so freaking funny. The sex scene. My God, what a silly,
the sex scene is so funny.
offensive movie.
Oh, man.
The pooping on them scene. It's just
They
ridiculous.
destroy Paris and they
Yeah.
say, "You're welcome."
It's so offensive in the best ways. It's a ridiculous movie.
Holy shit! What a movie, man! I can't believe this movie worked. It just worked. It worked. Matt Damon. Oh my God! All right, let's move on to number 27. Back with Pixar with Finding Nemo. Still to this day, one of their all-timers. It blended incredible comedy with so much heart and love. Dory is great comedic relief. Albert Brooks as Marlin is a great worried father. Willem Dafoe. I mean, there's so many great characters. Bruce the Shark. So many memorable scenes. Great comedy. I mean, this really is still one of the funnier Pixar movies that will also tug at your heartstrings. And it's still, I think, in top 5 of their entire filmography.
Next, we have Guy Ritchie's Snatch, coming off Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. His next film in 2000, starring Jason Statham, Vinnie Jones, Benicio del Toro, Brad Pitt, and Jason
Dogs?
Fleming. Huh?
You like Dogs?
Like dogs? Yeah, I like dogs. Stephen Graham's great in this as well. And it's just sort of like a classic Ritchie gangster movie of multiple storylines all being connected. There's a a mix of bare knuckle boxing. There's a heist. There's diamonds. Jason Statham and Stephen Graham are basically the leads of this movie, kind of fixers in a lot of ways, as well as fixing fights. And they're trying to find someone to fight a competing gangster's guy to take a fall in the ring. But obviously Brad Pitt's Mickey is unbeatable at fighting. Great comedy, great humor, great blend of that awesome gangster crime that Guy Ritchie was making so popular at the time. It's just a good flick.
At number 25, we really love this movie, and it's Along Came Polly with Ben Stiller, Jennifer Aniston, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Hank Azaria, Deborah Messing, Alec Baldwin. This is one of the most successful films on the list. $180 million box office for Along Came Polly. Just a simple comedy. And Ben Stiller plays against type as an insecure insurance salesman who... on his honeymoon, his wife leaves him for the diving instructor.
She doesn't leave him; she just sleeps with him.
So, yeah, and then he comes back to New York.
Are you for scuba?
Scuba?
Do you like scuba? Ruben.
Scuba, Ruben. Azaria is great, and so
he got in just insane shape for this
great
movie.
Shape for it. And Ben Stiller returns home. His name is Ruben, and he's disillusioned. But then he runs into at an art show his old friend Paulie Prince from school, played by Jennifer Aniston. Sandy, his best friend Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, God, I'm so friggin' horny.
He's Seed Stealer. Rain Man! Make it rain!
All right, Ruben, I just sharted. We have to get out of here right now. I farted, a little poop came out. We have to go immediately.
I just figured out how to cover this guy. I just figured it out.
Don't worry, man. I'm your wingman. I'll be by your side the whole time. So what do we do? Do we mingle? Do we... Sandy?
He leaves. Sandy's so funny. Alec Baldwin's great as his boss. He's got like the beard. He's the super alpha guy. But man, Philip Seymour Hoffman is so good. Jennifer Aniston's great. She plays like this free, very independent, complete contrast to Ben Stiller, who's a very high-strung, tight insurance salesman. And dating her means he has to basically break out of his shell. It has some good heart to it, but I think it's just really funny. It's ridiculous, and it's one of Hoffman's best comedic performances, if not the best one he has.
Next at number 24, we have an incredible road film and family comedy, Little Miss Sunshine, with a superb cast. Abigail Breslin, really early role from Zombieland in this. Paul Dano, Alan Arkin, Toni Collette, Steve Carell, Greg Kinnear, Bryan Cranston, Dean Norris. This is an insane cast. It's very funny. It's about this family who just pile up inside this yellow Volkswagen van to support the youngest daughter in the Little Miss Sunshine competition. But obviously, the quirks and dysfunction of the family comes out when they spend so much time in close proximity together. It's really warm and sweet, very funny, and it just is ultimately a really powerful feel-good film.
I love Little Miss Sunshine. Alan Arkin just steals that movie.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Meet the Parents at number 23. Huge movie pitting Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro together. And man, this was just comedic gold. I remember the theater experience. This was a huge hit. Everyone saw this movie. It's super funny. And Ben Stiller plays a male nurse. It's funny.
It's funny. It brought him so much in the movie.
Who goes to meet his fiance's parent. No, his wanting to be fiance. He's afraid to engage until he gets the parents' permission.
Well, he's going to, but then he learns on the phone call that her sister got proposed to, and she's like, "Did he ask Dad first? Oh, good thing.
Thank God he asked Dad.
He knew.
So then Greg Fokker's like, okay, I gotta get Jack's permission, played by Robert De Niro, and then he soon discovers that Jack is a former CIA agent. It's very intense, and so many great scenes.
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Geppetto. Owen Wilson plays the perfect ex who makes the altar out of wood.
One piece of one tree.
One tree.
One piece of wood.
There's so many great moments where Greg, he burns the altar and sprays shit all over the
Jinxie the cat.
Yeah, Jinx the cat. The volleyball, water polo. He breaks he breaks her sister's nose. There's so many great moments. This is an iconic movie, and the lie detector test scene is probably the best bit.
Yeah.
It's great, and De Niro's so funny in this. He's great.
They're great together.
Yeah. They made like 5 of them.
It's one of my favorite De Niro movies. Yeah, I mean, Meet the Fockers is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Dustin Hoffman, and then who's
Barbra Streisand.
Barbra Streisand. Yeah, they're like perfect. They're perfect casting.
Wait, your name's Gaylord Fokker? Who's Gaylord Fokker? All right, moving on. Number 22.
Jack Talk Thai, real good.
Jack Talk Thai, real good. JD Briggs, she has glasses and a ponytail. Not another teen movie, 2001. Oh my gosh, what a film. Chris Evans is a scene stealer in this. Kyler Lee is the lead as Janie Briggs. Jamie Presley, Mia Kushner. Such a great cast. Always just lots making fun of lots of movies. Varsity Blues is in there.
10 Things I Hate About You, 16 Candles. So many. It's an amazing movie.
And I mean, Chris Evans is just a delight in this movie as the football jock. It's so funny. So many great scenes we can talk about. It's silly. It's raunchy. And I love Not
Bring It On
so much. Yeah, the Bring It On. We black, we definitely ain't white.
American Pie, the sensitive guy. Stop.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah, Breakfast
they
Club.
They do so many movies in this.
Oh my god, so fucking good. I love.
She's All That's big in this one too.
Yeah, She's All That. Yeah. Oh my god, I love this movie so much.
Stop it.
Karate Kid. All right, we can't talk about another teen movie all day. Let's go into 21 with Almost Famous from Cameron Crowe. One of the better movies on this list. Just a great film about the music industry. Rolling Stone. Again, another great Philip Seymour Hoffman role. Kate Hudson steals the show. Billy Crudup's great. Jason Lee's great. This kid who wants to be a journalist goes on tour with a famous band and starts out well, but things become conflicting, and it's just a great coming-of-age film, one of the better ones.
Let's do another Pixar film. In 2004, we have The Incredibles, one of the best superhero movies ever.
Yeah,
The Incredibles is absolutely hysterical. You know, we have the great dynamics of these heroes who are, trying to retire one of them, and then the whole family getting superpowers. We have a great supervillain. Great family dynamics here. It's a classic and
super fun.
Yeah, it was directed by Brad Bird, who did such a terrific job with this film. I think the cast is so good. I mean, it's still relevant. I see memes about Mrs. Incredible all the time. just thick body golds. It's just so funny. But it's hysterical.
The one
film.
from Destiny's Child with the thick thighs.
Ali G.
Why isn't Ali G on this list?
We should put Ali G in the house on this.
Mistake. What year did it come out?
2007 and 2002.
2002. Ali G in
the house.
In the house.
We should put it on here. Let's do it. Honorable mention right now.
Let's do it next. Yeah, Ali G in the house.
Honorable mention.
Sacha Baron Cohen, Martin Freeman, Rhoda Mitra, Charles Dance is in this. Michael Gambon. Great cast, and Ali G, the personality from Sacha Baron Cohen's TV show, which we watched religiously on HBO.
Every week, man.
It's so funny. It is like Malibu's Most Wanted ripped this off, essentially, where he plays Ali G, who is ridiculous, really into the culture, and over the top. Gets into all sorts of situations. I like how it opens with like the spraying of bullets on the walls, but it saves room for him and his thing. The outfits are amazing.
Mijuli,
the hijinks. It's offensive. It's ridiculous.
Stoner movie too.
It's a great stoner movie. Martin Freeman is awesome in this as the buddy. I love Ali G in the house. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out because it's an all timer. It's so good.
All right, hit up number 19, bro.
I gotta do 3 in a row.
No, well, that was
give my voice a break, man. I need a break.
All right, moving on to Talladega Nights. Speaking of Sacha Baron Cohen, Talladega Nights stars Will Ferrell as Ricky Bobby, a NASCAR driver who reaches the height of his career until it all crumbles down on him. Him and John C. Reilly sort of just reprising that great comedy from Step Brothers. Was Step Brothers before this or after this?
After. Step Brothers 07.
Oh my gosh, so the Step Brothers was creative influence because of this comedy.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought Talladega was after.
No, Ricky Bobby was first.
And so, all right, so John C. Reilly plays his best friend. Soon they become competitors. It's great. It's silly. It makes fun of the corporatization of sports really well and just American corporate culture in general. Mountain Dew and silly one-liners.
Big Red. If you don't like Big Red, fuck you.
His sponsor is Wonder Bread. It's a great movie, so funny. A lot of heart, too, at the same time, like a lot of great comedies have.
All right, next up, we have definitely one of the best of the decade. At number 18, Todd Phillips' film, The Hangover. A huge success, but it's also really good, really well made, excellent directing, great trio. Bradley Cooper, Zach Galifianakis, Ed Helms build off each other really well. And it's a brilliant concept. Three guys, during the bachelorette party, they all get blackout, and they wake up in a hotel room. There's a tiger in there. There are chickens. One's missing a tooth. There's a baby. It's just an unbelievable concept for a comedy. It's really genius. It's highly successful.
$470 million.
Yes, and I think the other ones made more, if I remember correctly. Just one of the most successful comedy franchises ever. It might be, for a comedy franchise, the most successful ever.
Yeah.
It made these three guys big stars. It's just so good. There's so many parts to it. So many great members of the cast, from Ken Jeong, Mike Tyson, Heather Graham. Todd Phillips has a great cameo. There's so many great bits to this. It's a hilarious movie, and it's just one of the best comedies. It's great.
These three guys became such huge stars. Obviously, Ed Helms was really big on The Office at the time, but he hadn't really been diving into movies yet in a big way. But this helped so much. Zach Galifianakis became one of the funniest comedians in Hollywood, and Bradley's gone on to have such an impressive and all-time career. And this movie I think was integral to him getting that A-list leading man status for sure. It was really integral to that.
It made him a leading man, and it got him. What's the movie where he takes the medication to become highly intelligent?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That was his big leading role moment. Bradley Cooper's smart movie, Limitless. Yes, Limitless, which came out not shortly after this, 2011. Yeah, shortly after this movie. But yeah, and this is what got Ed Helms the manager role in The Office to replace Michael Scott.
Well, I wouldn't say that. He was already...
No, I read an interview with the producers, and they went with Ed Helms because he became a bankable box office hit.
Oh, I guess so.
That's why they chose him.
To be Michael's replacement?
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's in and out of so many seasons, like on the boat.
Because Krasinski still wasn't there, film-wise.
Well, I wouldn't say he wasn't there. He was the lead of the show, Krasinski after that.
I mean, still an ensemble. Well, no, I mean, there was no after that. There
was no after that. What do you mean?
I mean, they made Ed Helms the lead of the show.
No, but the thing with Ed Helms being the manager of The Office, like I said, he's in and out so much because he's doing movies. He was like on a boat for 4 episodes or half a season.
But still, that's why they gave him.
He's manager.
That's why they gave him the manager.
No, but I'm just talking about how you could have given. It just doesn't make sense to give to Jim. That's what I mean.
That's not who Jim is.
Jim's not the manager of The Office. He never should have been, and he's doing his own thing in New York.
Yeah.
In Philly.
Sports
guy. Next up, number 17, Fantastic Mr. Fox, which we actually just watched on our Discord as a watch party last week with
delightful.
A bunch of the boys. And this is one of Wes Anderson's best. Came out in 2009. Stop motion, obviously. Bill Murray, George Clooney, Jason Schwartzman, Meryl Streep, Owen Wilson, Willem Dafoe. The list is endless of A-listers and great actors and actresses voicing characters in this movie. It's about this fox who's nearing the end of his life, but he wants to no longer live in a hole. He wants to get bigger and better things for his family. He wants to move into a tree, moves them into a tree, has to obviously steal things to pay for it. He doesn't want to work straight anymore, and he has to do this in order to survive and maintain this lifestyle that he thinks his family deserves and wants. But he also has these crazy farmers who are trying to take him out at the same time. It's so funny. Great filmmaking. Obviously, recording sound for real in locations or on sets versus just doing all the audio in a sound booth makes it so much more lively and authentic and real. I love Fantastic Mr. Fox so much.
At number 16, we have Martin McDonagh's big early hit In Bruges, starring Colin Farrell.
Fucking Bruges?
Fucking Bruges. Brendan Gleeson, Ralph Fiennes, and Clemens Posey. They play two hitmen who, after botching an assassination, are sent to Bruges by their boss to lay low. And Brendan Gleeson secretly been told to kill Colin Farrell because Colin Farrell messed it up. And Colin Farrell is suicidal because he accidentally killed the boy. But as dark as that sounds, it's hilarious. It's vulgar. The language is absolutely bonkers. I love it. It's so funny. It's so specific. McDonald's, one of the better writers working in Hollywood today, obviously winning an Oscar with 3 Billboards. And Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson are dynamite together. It's great.
And I mean, his most recent film is just so loved. We see it all the time.
Banshees, yeah.
On like our Letterboxd 4 favorites, Banshees of Inisherin is pretty common for a favorite movie for a lot of people. Next up at number 15, we have Juno, 2007, directed by Jason Reitman, written by what's her name? Diablo Cody. And this stars Elliot Page, Michael Cera, Jennifer Garner, Jason Bateman, Olivia Thirlby, Allison Janney, and J.K. Simmons. What an absolutely stacked cast. Juno is a teenage girl who gets pregnant from this boy that she's seeing, played by Michael Cera, and she doesn't want to have an abortion, so she decides to give birth but give the baby up for adoption. That's the plan. And she finds a family that can't have a child but are trying to have a baby. And this is played by this married couple, Jennifer Garner and Jason Bateman, and some odd things happen where she starts to kind of have feelings for Jason Bateman's character in this movie, which is a bit odd, but they play it really well. This movie is very funny and very sweet, but also it's a great coming-of-age movie because this happens. Unwanted or unplanned pregnancies happen all the time for teenagers and people in their adolescence. And this is a great film of how to, an option that you can go with figuring out that situation, navigating those waters. And it doesn't mean that everything's over for you. You have to change your entire life. There are options for you, but it's a lot of fun. And I think it's a brilliant screenplay, and it's really well acted, and it's so goddamn funny. I'm on my hamburger phone.
Next up, we have Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit, Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. One of the best mockumentaries made in recent memory. It grossed $265 million at the box office. Sacha Baron Cohen is a comedic performing genius in this movie, putting himself into real situations and telling this narrative in such a fun way. His goal is to find Pamela Anderson.
He falls in love with Pamela.
It's insane. It's absurd. He gets himself into so many crazy situations. It's so funny. It really is. It's the best thing he's done. And this was a cultural behemoth, and everybody was talking about this movie. Everybody saw it. It made Sacha Baron Cohen globally famous, and man, he's great in it.
What's up, Vanilla Face? Me and my homie Asma just parked our slab outside. So many good lines. My wife.
Next mess.
It's so fun because he takes the ignorance that people have for other cultures and just dials it to 100 and just messes with them so well.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
All right, at number 13 on our list from 2010, we have Tropic Thunder, genuinely one of the funniest movies of the century, directed by Ben Stiller. Obviously, the lead role as Tug Speedman, an action star with a dwindling career. Robert Downey Jr., Jack Black, Tom Cruise as the incredible Les Grossman, Jay Baruchel, Steve Coogan, Danny McBride, Matthew McConaughey. So many heavy hitters in this movie, of a movie that's being filmed that turns into a real survival movie, but the actors don't realize it as they're traversing the jungles of this foreign country. My God, it's funny. It's crazy. Good action as well. Justin Theroux co-wrote this with Ben Stiller as well, and it's just so silly. Downey is remarkable in this movie. Got Golden Globe win, I believe, for this, or nomination. He got a big nomination for this movie.
He's nominated for an Oscar for this.
Was he nominated for an Oscar for this?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, he's so good. The only actor who can get away with blackface is Robert Downey Jr. because it's a play on actors doing blackface. That's the whole point of it. So funny, memorable, and I think a timeless film. I'm a land farmer, motherfucker. Survive.
All right, at number 12, we're just into the top tier territory right now. We got Step Brothers, which is one of my favorite comedies to watch. John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell dialed it up from Talladega Nights, and I think this is a superior movie. It's so funny. It's ridiculous. Mary Steenburgen, Catherine Hahn is amazing in this. Richard Jenkins, Adam Scott's great. I love everything about it. I love putting these two personalities together and seeing what happens for an hour straight. It's hilarious. There's so many quotes. So many moments.
I haven't had a carb since 2004.
Fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Punch you in the face.
Something about your face.
Again,
Is there anything that I could do? No, there's nothing.
Again, endlessly quotable, iconic.
Number 11, we have American Psycho from 2000. And yes, this is a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very dark comedy. And the more times you watch it, the funnier it gets. Obviously, Christian Bale in the remarkable performance as Patrick Bateman is so memorable and iconic. Cast is great. Jared Leto, Willem Dafoe, Chloe Sevigny, Reese Witherspoon, Justin Theroux, Josh Lucas. It's a great book, incredible adaptation from Mary Aaron, and just an all-timer, you know, in the horror genre, in the dark comedy genre. It's one of a kind.
You know what else is one of a kind is our number 10 pick, Hot Fuzz from Edgar Wright. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Patty Considine, Timothy Dalton, Jim Broadbent, Bill Nighy, Olivia Colman, Rafe Spall, Martin Freeman. This is just a who's who of British actors. I love Hot Fuzz. It's my favorite in the Cornetto trilogy. It's so funny. It's so over the top. It's basically spoofing like Tony Scott, Michael Bay movies in a way from Love. Simon Pegg's great as this ultimate cop who's too good. He's making everyone else look bad, so they send him to the middle of nowhere in this quiet, safe suburb where he accidentally stumbles upon a murder conspiracy. There's a reason why the town is the safest town in England.
For the greater good.
Traffic collision. I love it. Nick Frost is great like always. Just Tropic Thunder. We all know how great it is. It's fucking stars reading it.
Hot Fuzz.
It's Hot Fuzz. We all know how great it is.
Number 9, Pineapple Express from 2008. We have Seth Rogen, James Franco, Danny McBride, in just an all-time comedy. One of the best stoner movies of all time. Still to this day, I think one of my favorite comedies ever. I thought hurricane season was over. Franco's just on a different level of comedy in this movie. He's always great in comedies.
Yeah.
You know, this is the end. He's terrific as well. But man, as Saul in this movie, so goddamn funny. Rogen's good as a lead. And Danny McBride steals every scene that he's in. I love it so much.
Shoes?
Process your servant. I watched it like 2 months ago. It's still funny. Still holds up.
It's great. It's great, man. All right, next up we have at number 8, Scary Movie, the one that started it all. Huge box office return of $160 million. And this was obviously a huge spoof on Scream and a couple other of the 90s movies. I Know What You Did Last Summer, things like that. What are you waiting for? You're right. What am I waiting for?
What's up? What's up? Nothing. Chilling. Killing.
We're a bunch of 10-year-olds just in school. What's up? This was amazing. The opening, there's the signs that Carmen Electra is running towards 2 signs. One says safety, one says death, and she runs to death. Oh my God. Anna Faris is great, and this is the lead. Basically a spoof on Cindy Prescott.
Nev Campbell.
Thank you. The Wayans brothers are amazing, like always. There's a great spoof of Scream where he licks the blood off his fingers. Ketchup, just like Mom used to put in my spaghetti. Oh my God, there's so many good bits. I love Scary Movie. It's great.
I like when she's making popcorn. It gets bigger and bigger throughout the scene. They keep cutting to it, and it's like the size of a giant balloon.
I told you not to disturb me when I'm cleaning my room.
Hello, Sydney. Gail swallows. I poo my pants. I feel really good. Never disturb me when I'm cleaning my room.
Oh my God, I love it.
Number 7. But why male models? Are you serious? I just told you. Zoolander, 2001, one of Stiller's best. What a character. Derek Zoolander is so memorable. Obviously, the original is so much more superior than the sequel they did in 2016, which never probably should have gotten made, but such a great film, great concept. Him and Owen Wilson as rival models are great. Derek gets put into this conspiracy of an assassination attempt after being brainwashed. And then Ben Stiller's real wife, Christine Taylor, that's her name, right? from.
Yep.
Yeah. She plays a journalist who has to try to help him eventually.
No, not too many people I know read your Time magazine.
Good for me. Good thing not many people I know. So goddamn funny. David Duchovny is great.
Mugatu.
Will Ferrell's Mugatu.
I know. I've never had you. Now that you're gone, I want you. I want it. The forbidden fruit must be tasty.
Jacobim, you know I get farty and bloated with the foamy latte.
It needs to be at least 3 times this size.
What is this? A center for ants? He's absolutely right.
It's absolutely right.
Derek is the dumbest guy on the planet Earth, but he's got a heart of gold. He's so silly and funny. We too can die of freak gasoline fight accidents. Jitterbug.
Jitterbug. Orange mocha frappuccinos.
Love this film.
So many quotes. It's one of my favorite comedies of all time. All right, next up we have The Royal Tenenbaums from Wes Anderson. Really, probably the best script on this list. It could be. It's an amazing cast, incredible ensemble. Both hilarious and tragic at the same time. This is Wes really coming into his own as a filmmaker and a writer, and then these actors getting to play with incredible characters. I mean, every one of these characters is like a Halloween costume. You know, that's how great it is when it comes to costume design, wardrobe design, hair and makeup. Royal Tenenbaums is a wonderful, wonderful film.
Number 5, man, we have Anthony's biopic.
I was waiting for it.
The 40-year-old virgin. I haven't made that joke in a while. Man, Steve Carell, 2005, the same year that The Office premiered, the 40-year-old virgin drops, changed his career forever because he's always been a funny guy, waiting for his big break, and this year was it. You know, he was on The Daily Show for a while, just doing some great sketch shows.
Him and Colbert?
Yeah, him and Colbert were doing sketch shows as well, but they got their start on The Daily Show. And The 40-Year-Old Virgin is just one of generally the funniest movies of all time. He plays Andy, this insanely innocent 40-year-old virgin who's trying to lose his virginity for the first time after giving up but making new friends at the job he's worked at for years.
Wait, are you a virgin?
This makes sense. You know how when you feel a woman's breast and it feels like a bag of sand?
Oh, bag of what?
What are you talking about? Yeah. It's so goddamn funny. Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, Catherine Keener, Romany Malco, Elizabeth Banks, Leslie Mann. God dang, the list goes on and on of great comedic actors and performers in this movie. So funny. Ends up having a great story of falling in love and losing his virginity eventually when he gets married. And it's so sweet.
But I just want to buy these. I just want to give you money and I can take them home and wear them.
We sell your stuff on eBay store. I don't understand. I just want to take these home and wear them.
Why can't I just give you money and take them? All right, next up we have at number 4, another Edgar Wright banger, Shaun of the Dead, one of the best zombie movies of all time. Just had its 20th year anniversary, 2004. Man, I can't believe so long ago. This is one of our favorites growing up, and I'm sure many of you agree. This is a perfect movie from start to finish. Every moment works. All the comedy works. It hasn't aged a day. It's still as good as it was 20 years ago. Iconic. What more can be said about Shaun of the Dead?
Exactly. Just like what more can be said about Anchorman than just the title alone. This movie was so influential on teens, kids, young adults when it came out in 2004. Again, Will Ferrell on top of the world. This 3-year insane run. So many movies coming out. And Ron Burgundy is hands down one of the best comedic characters ever created for screen. The cast is absolutely incredible. You know, Paul Rudd is in here. We have Steve Carell. I love Anchorman, and it's always had a special place in my heart. It's constantly funny, timeless, so many good one-liners. With each character has so many good one-liners, and I love it so much. And it's fucking Ron Burgundy, everybody.
News team, assemble!
Stay classy, San Diego.
Ron, we're right here, Ron.
Next up, at number 2, we have another Pixar flick. We have the incredible WALL-E from 2008. Such a sensational film with so much great humor. You know, this movie plays out very much like a silent film in terms of no dialogue for the majority of it. And it's an eerily possible, in a way, futuristic world where humans have left Earth because it's so full of trash. And WALL-E is this compacting mini robot that his whole mission, his whole programming is to collect trash, and the entire planet is full of these cities full of skyscrapers of trash, and that's his life. But he likes to collect these little trinkets. There's great humor here. And then this other robot stumbles upon this planet, and he follows it with a spaceship to where humans are living now, in this eerily comic, satirical version of what it could be, floating around on these big floaty chairs with TV screens and sodas and food at the command. It's hysterical. It's so sweet and lighthearted. It's easily the highest rated movie on this list. It's an 8.4 on IMDb.
By far.
It's a really special movie, I think, in Pixar's catalog. It's my favorite Pixar film. And it's a really challenging movie, I think, to make with such little dialogue for the first half especially. But it shows that you don't need dialogue to tell a story. You can do it with great action, with nonverbal acting. Communication gets across so many different ways. But it's hysterical. It's fun. And it has so much purpose and meaning behind it.
Absolutely. Well said, man.
Thanks.
Now let's move into number one. There can only be number one. One number one.
One number?
Now, final reveal of what the number one movie is.
I wonder if people can guess it right now. We're missing something big.
Why would you part in staff? I mean, you're not staff.
I know that, Vogel!
Superbad!
I know that.
Superbad is our number one pick for the best comedy in 2000s because it is nonstop laughter, great characters, really good story, memorable moments, so many just iconic scenes. But there's something about Superbad that really separates it from most comedies, even very good comedies, is even the really good ones, they do slow down in the third act.
Yeah, that's generally the thing for comedies.
And they definitely slow down in the second half. Even the good ones. You know, even Tropic Thunder. I love Tropic Thunder, but the last 30 minutes of that movie, it's not the same as the first 40 minutes. You know what I mean? They do slow down, and it's so difficult to maintain the high-stakes comedy for 2 hours. But Superbad does it from start to finish. It is never not funny.
Pizza bagels.
Pizza bit, your mama's huge tits. It's never not hilarious. It works from start to finish. That's so rare for a comedy to be. I think it says, like, all comedies, like, the first 30 minutes have to be the best bit of comedy, right?
Yeah.
But Superbad, it maintains that humor from start to finish, which is so rare.
I think it's so great because it also captures what it's like to be a high schooler so authentically, so realistically, in terms of especially this era in 2000s, but also today. You know, it makes you feel the embarrassment of if you're eating lunch by yourself in the cafeteria, or not fitting in, or trying to be cool, not getting invited to parties, not getting a girl that you're really interested in, being, you know, a virgin for too long, having insecurities like that, and being worried about that. You know, you're graduating, and it's a classic high school movie of trying to lose your virginity before school ends, and not being cool, but really just being afraid to be yourself. In a lot of ways, you know, it's got great messages at the same time of being an insanely raunchy, funny comedy with good jokes that you would hear teenagers say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, these are the jokes and things that people would say in real life. They're not, it doesn't seem too out of the box, too far-fetched, too fantastical. It's grounded comedy, if that's a good phrase to say, you know, for this age group and for high schoolers. And I think high schoolers, I'm sure, still talk like this because we talk like this.
Oh, yeah.
We were dropping F-bombs constantly and, you know, trying to fuck the establishment. You hated teachers. You hated school. You were so ready to graduate. It's your senior year. You're done. You're ready for college. I'm going to state where girls are half as smart and twice as likely to fellate me. Like, it's ridiculous. Oh, Evan, thank God for bringing this gigantic bottle of lube. I never would have been able to handle your 4-inch dick without this bottle of lube. They're not drawing up old hags. These girls are 18 years old. They're good to go. Like, you can't say that in movies anymore.
No way. No friggin' way. And then, I mean, you get Bill Hader, Seth Rogen as the cops are amazing. Emma Stone in her first role,
incredible.
Who would have thought she would be like a 2-time Oscar winner, biggest star alive from this movie? It's amazing. And then, but it's really like, it's McLovin. It's the trio. The trio do it. They're perfect together. The costumes, the outfits, McLovin. There's so much to it. The stealing the alcohol, the imagination, different scenarios. The dicks montage. There's so many things in this movie that just work.
Just sit around and draw pictures of dicks.
What?
Like a man dick?
Like big, veiny, throbbing cocks. It's amazing. It's so funny. It's very rewatchable. You know, for some people, maybe it hasn't aged well, but I just think this is a diamond in the rough of the 2000s.
Bill Hader and Seth Rogen as the cops.
Yeah.
Absolutely hysterical.
Yeah. So good. So fucking good.
Super bad. That's it. That's the juice. Number one comedy of the 2000s.
Tell us what you think your favorite comedy is.
Did we leave anything out? I know in our
I think we got everything.
90s episode, we missed a couple of bangers out.
We were because we missed a couple of big ones in the 90s, and we were extra careful with this list.
I think we did a pretty good
job. We got it all.
Let us know what your favorite comedies of the 2000s are via YouTube comments. We love to read them there, or Instagram DMs. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We appreciate you so much for tuning into this episode of Raiders of the Lost podcast on our 100 greatest comedies from the 2000s. Become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost podcast. And take care, everybody.
See you next time.